You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back with another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Well, this has been a very lovely February. I am just so relaxed and trying to enjoy this time. You know, this is a 4-day weekend it feels like. You know, you got Valentine's Day, you got Mr. Johnson's birthday. So if you're listening to this and you're one of the first people to listen to this, Mr. Johnson today on President's Day is now 30. And we had a lovely kickoff to that. Over this weekend, we were at the Four Seasons in Philly and stayed there for a couple of nights and had a really lovely time. It was Valentine's Day. It was our anniversary kickoff, which 11 years ago on February 13th, 2014, we were officially a couple, Facebook official, while we both were at Penn. And it's been a decade and a year. And we celebrated in some really fun ways over the weekend. We did a lot. A lot of you all were following my Instagram story. Some of you all very much so attentively. But it was a lovely weekend. I mean, I know it was a lot of snow outside and rain and all the weather in between. But we enjoyed ourselves. It was very romantic. It was so sweet. Four Seasons is just fabulous for starters. I love just that hotel. I think I'm ready to say it. It's my favorite hotel in Philly. AKA second. AKA is second for sure. AKA hotel. Specifically the one in University City is my second favorite hotel in the city. But my number one is definitely Four Seasons. And it was a cool throwback because our honeymoon, which will be 4 years this year. I'm still baffled that this October will be 4 years of marriage. Because I'm just like, wow, it was 4 years ago? 4 years ago. 4 years ago, October 16th, 2021. Like, where did the time go? Like, I'm just like, what, 4 years? It's been 4 years. Yeah, and I think that Four Seasons was newish. It was definitely much newer when it opened. So we I noticed because I was like, these prices, this inflation, it is that some of the things that they do now that we did then, the prices were not, I don't remember them being that high. Like we did the night spa pool, like private with the candles and the roses and the massage and all that. When we did that during our honeymoon, that was October of 2021. That price was not the price now. Just definitely is. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's more. I mean, more people are hip to it now. But I remember they were really trying to push it back then. But we got it, and it was lovely. It means the same thing. You got the infinity pool at night. You get an hour. There's massage. It's pretty much like private. It's just you in that pool, and you know your date. And they give you some chocolates and champagne, and yeah. It was that package during our honeymoon was very reasonable. And the package now is very different. Let me just say, a couple of thousands, plural, if you want a weekend. And even on a weekday, it's still like, and the new thing is they say if you do a hotel, or you do a stay a night, if you stay a night, you get a 20% off for the room per night if you stay. And so, let me just say this. Four Seasons is for adults. Okay? As somebody who spent the weekend there on Valentine's Day weekend, it is for adults. Okay? This is not some cute little, I want to just take this girl I'm dating casually out there. I mean, this is for serious long-term relationships only. Okay? Because some of you all will ask me, what's a good place for a date night or a good night out? And I'm like, okay, nowadays I've realized that when I give recommendations, I have to ask other probing questions because some of you all will hit me up, especially like just, guys, a lot of guys see me, a lot of straight guys will hit me up and just go, oh, I want to take my lady out to this. I'm like, okay, let's back up. How long have y'all been together? Is this a serious relationship? Is this a booty call? Is this just a simple, getting to know you? Is this a first date, a second date? Like, what are we talking? Because you want to make sure you give the appropriate impressions for the settings. And I've been out enough, Mr. Johnson. I have went to dates and go out to eat, all that. And we will go and we can just see couples, and you could just look at like newish couples, like couples who just started dating, and you're like, yeah, they should have went to this restaurant. Do you see how uncomfortable? Like we people watch sometimes, and I'm very observant. The journalist in me cannot. He's a comms guy, so it's like we just observe little things. We just observe all kind of things. Like we're those people, and we just kind of like because we've been around, we've been doing this forever now. At this point, we like you see that, and you just read signs. You can just read energy, and so yeah, it's not to say people, look, I'm not pocket watching. Like some people can go and what they do. But I often tell people it's not about whether you can afford something or not. It's about setting the proper tone. Like even if you can, it's not about what you can afford or what you can't afford. It's about the impression. So like for example, I have a mentee, right? And I'd say to my mentee, I'm gonna take my mentee to lunch. I'm not taking my mentee to Vernick Fish for lunch. Like, no, that's not appropriate, in my opinion. Like a mentee that is like, a college student that's trying to be interested in journalism. I'm not taking him to Vernick Fish. And I'm not saying I'm not taking him because not appropriate in like I don't know how to describe, like a sexual way, but like inappropriate in like a reading the room of like not making it intimidating. Like I think about like when I was younger and I had mentors and they would take me lunch. A lot of times they would ask me where would I want to go? What kind of food do I like? Because they want to set the tone. So I'm like, oh, I'm a simple, sandwiches, whatever. We'll go somewhere like, if it was something really casual, like a meetup, we'll like go like, Hip City Veg, or we'll go to Pattaya, or we'll go to I'm trying to think of somewhere down in Rittenhouse, like places I went in the past, like real eats, like real food eatery or something. Like not like Shake Shack. I think I did Shake Shack one time. It wasn't my pick, but it was it was where my mentee wanted to go. They was like, oh, Shake Shack or White Dog Cafe for lunch. Like somewhere very like chill, or Booker's. I used to go to Booker's a lot for lunch when I met up with people. Like just somewhere just like real tame. Like entrees are not over $30. Like, you know, 30 at the most, right? Like this really reasonable. Like the bill should be under $100. Like, it's very mindful, chill, casual, maybe semi-business casual, but nothing too pretentious, nothing too, when you're doing it. So you just have to read the room. Now, if I'm going to lunch with a client, right, then we're going to probably go to park. We're going to probably, it'll be a park situation. It'll be a kitchen. Like I would go to a kitchen with a client. The love would be something a little bit more, but like you just know, you just read the room and you read the vibes, and yeah, you just know. So we went to Vetri Cucina on Valentine's Day. It was so lovely. It was a really great time, and we did the seasonal tasting menu, and it was extravagant and fancy and all the things, and it was a great dinner. Lots of courses. I mean, truffle and caviar and just foie gras. It was just the best of the best. And when we were there, we noticed that there was this couple. It was this guy. You could tell he was a trust fund baby. Definitely college. Both of them were college. And it was obvious he was trust fund. It was obvious that his folks paid for the dinner, whatever. But the girl just felt overwhelmed in a way where she wasn't expecting it to be super fancy. Like you could just tell it was her first time going to like a very serious fine dining. And let me be very clear. Like I Well, when did I start doing fine? My senior year, I would say my senior year, when Mr. Johnson and I started dating, we did a couple of things, but we were like Del Frisco's, and even Del Frisco's felt, like okay, Fogo de Chow, Alma de Cuba, R.I.P. Alma de Cuba, that was fun. Destrito, we did Amada. Sabraga was nice. We did well, okay. We did a couple of things, but like we also mixed and matched it. We went to the Olive Garden. When that was in Center City. Remember that Olive? For those who remember the Olive Garden, I tell my students all the time. I love the tour of Ilion Olive Garden. I am not above it. Okay, I am not above that. Okay, I'm not above that. But we did, we mixed it up. It was a lot. Our dining, our date nights back then were very places that we would not do now for sure, but not that we're snobs. We'll slide into an Indian buffet somewhere. We just want something quick bite. But you know, back then our date nights was like it was levels. It was like okay, Valentine's Day we was doing the most. Where did we go? We went to Vauvert. We went to Vauvert for Valentine's Day. Now that was over the top, but it just we were seniors, and I mean I was a senior. He wasn't a senior yet, but we were. It was just different. It was just did we? No, we didn't. No, we did Vauvert for our 1 year anniversary. That was 2015. So I was out of school by then. Um, we went. I think we did Del Frisco's. Yeah, yeah, and I know why we did Del Frisco's. My barber told us to go there, and he kept telling me about doing a steak called the Pittsburgh something. It was like the way the steak was cooked. He was just being extra. He was giving us too much. My barber is like a lot sometimes, but I mean, he's been cutting my hair for 15 years, but he recommended Del Frisco's, and that was when Del Frisco's was Del Frisco's. I mean, Del Frisco's is still nice, but it was like, you know, my Philadelphians in the 2010s, y'all remember when Del Frisco's was like Double Eagle Steakhouse Del Frisco's, like before the riffraff came in. No, I'm joking. We're gonna talk about that too with Four Seasons, because I have some thoughts about Four Seasons and that, but. It was just a different time. But I could just tell that this couple was very young. They were not, I don't think they were old enough to drink. And I noticed that. There was like no wine. But she just seemed very like overwhelmed. Like she just seemed like she wasn't prepared for it to be that elegant. Like she felt out of place. And he seemed, based on how he was dressing, like he was trying to act like his dad. Like there was the way his whole swagger was, it was obvious he didn't really know what he was eating, but he was familiar with the scene and felt more comfortable than her. And that just, that was an observation. I'm just like, yeah, she felt overwhelmed. Like, if you want to create that experience, bro, let me tell you where you should have went. You should have took her to Georgia on Pine, BYOB, so y'all could have drank illegally. Y'all could have went there, because she looked like she wanted something to drink. She kept being like, oh, we can? He's like, no, I don't think we can. Like, it was just a vibe. And so I would have went to Georgia on Pine, a cute Italian BYOB, because that's where we and Mr. Johnson used to go. We used to go. Definitely loved our Italian BYOBs. A lot of them in Philly. They used to be big. Couple of them a lot of places have closed down. Like I remember Chloe in Old City. Anybody, if you remember Chloe in Old City, clap once or twice if you remember Chloe. Chloe used to be the bomb. And then they replaced Chloe with a place called Olay. Olay, I think it's OLEA, which is also BYOB, but not as good as Chloe used to be. But don't tell them that. But I just remember Chloe BYOB back in the day. Like this was a different era. Okay. This was a different era in Philly. But Old City used to be popping with those types of BYOB spots. But that's what we used to. We used to always do like really nice, intimate BYOB restaurants. I remember Will BYOB before it was Forcia by Kierce, Chef Kierce. Who was doing a great job at Forcia, which is not a BYOB, it's a French restaurant, but he used to own Will BYOB, and that used to be the spot, right? La Vertu, still hot over there in Passyunk. But we used to go like to these nice BYOBs because we were college, we were college kids, and we were young, and so we were like, we want the nice food, but we don't want to spend a crazy liquor bill. So that's why we used to go out to eat. But I tell people all the time, like, if you're in a serious relation, let me take that back. If you're not in a crazy, in-depth, long-term relationship, you can flesh this out. And also it changes by age groups. So let me be very clear. You cannot do a cheap dim sum date in your 40s with a first time date. But that doesn't mean you do vetry, right? That you're not doing 215 per person tasting menu for someone you just met. That's a little too strong in my opinion. Unless y'all both millionaires or some shit. But like if Erica James is a married woman, but like Dean Erica James at Warden, you couldn't take her out to you could take her to vetry on the first day because she's Erica James. But like some people, I feel like you just can read the room. Maybe this is a park experience. Maybe this is the Dandelion for brunch. Maybe we go to the Love. Maybe we go to, a really nice one is, I like, um, hmm, like Mon. You could do Mon. Mon would be nice. Or Irwin's. Irwin's would be a nice first date for my late 30s, early 40s folks that's doing early dating. Like you want to do something that's like relaxing, chill, still special, but not over the top, right? Like Hiroki, it need to had been some serious, y'all want to be a little bit more. If that's a sushi restaurant that's top tier. You don't go to Hiroki on a first date. Unless again, it's like Jay-Z, Beyonce, or it's you an NBA player and you take in like if Jalen Hurts took his girl out for a first date, you could go to Hiroki. Jalen Hurts, who is 26, and some of you aunties lusting after him, that man is old enough to be your son. And by the way, he's younger than me. So a lot of y'all that be calling me a baby, that is a baby. So you shouldn't be looking at him like that. But I digress. Because I haven't seen y'all. Y'all get a little frisky. And Saquon Barkley just turned 28. So you shouldn't be looking at him like that either. Okay? Some of y'all lusting after these young black men. Y'all listen. I am 33. Okay? I'm big bro to Jalen and Saquon. I'm big bro. I'm not unk. If I was in my 40s, I'd be unk. But I digress. But yes, Vetri was phenomenal. Mark Vetri is a godsend. Vetri Cucina is like the goats of restaurants. I mean, they've been around for 26 years. If there was a Michelin star competition in Philadelphia, they would get 3 stars. Okay, they are the best of the best, the creme de la creme. I don't go all the time because the food is heavy. The experience is decadent. Like you have to, a place like that, you can't go every month. You could go once a year, if that, because it's such a rich experience. Like I hadn't been to Vetri Cucina in like 5 years, y'all. Like it had been a minute. One, because reservations, you gotta make sure you reserve, the reservations are tight. It is a small, intimate space. But it's also just it's very expensive, but it's worth every penny. But it's also one of those, like, you want to cherish like a moment. Like I feel like we did, was it 5 years ago? I think we did like our 5-year anniversary. Like I think it was 5-year anniversary. We did the first dinner. Yeah, that was like 5 years ago. Like, yeah. It was like our 5-year anniversary as a couple. That was like not last year, but like around 2019, I think we did. Like our 5-year anniversary. And then I got engaged. I remember because I got engaged that because I got engaged that December, that Christmas Eve. So it was about 5-year anniversary around that time. And I hadn't been back since. And I've been to other Vetri restaurants, as you all know, but I hadn't been back there specifically. But it's still going strong. I mean, everybody was there. It was a lovely time, and it was great. We had breakfast in bed the next day. Lovely, lovely breakfast. At Four Seasons. We had it in just room service, but their breakfast room service was like restaurant style. It was fabulous. We had a nightcap the night before at the Sky High Lounge where John George's is, for those who know. Let me say this, and this is my little note, just a little note about that Four Seasons. So as you know, I went around the Thomas Parade. We'll talk about the parade later in this episode because I have some thoughts about that damn parade. But, okay, as somebody who do not really go, well, okay, I want to say this without being a snob, but I don't think I will succeed in that. So it's going to be a snobbish reply anyway. Whatever. I'm just going to vent slightly. So I feel like at night, and I have not really gone to Sky High that often. Sky High is the big, huge 60 floor like view, right? John George's is down on the lower end, and then up is the bar and everything. Valentine's Day at Sky High was ratchet. Now we went to Vetri for dinner, and then we came back up to get a nightcap. We went and got cocktail together and everything like that. But I went there, and you could just tell that there were like a lot of singles looking to mingle. It was some women that were scantily dressed, and I listen. I don't judge women. I don't want to say they were sex workers, but it was giving. It was giving that they were working. The outfits were very, and I'm not judging them. I mean, they're free to do what they want to do, but the vibe was just very different than what I thought it would be on Valentine's Day. Like I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be cute couples and romance, like that Victory was. No, baby, it was ballers. It was a bunch of ladies that were just surrounding individual men that were very generous at the bar. And it was loud, chaotic, and just a lot going on. But I just think there's this thing where people just go up to that bar. And I'm just like, do anyone have a hotel? Is any of these people hotel guests? Clearly not. Because I booked my Valentine's Day room suite situation for that weekend in November. There were like no available rooms at the Four Seasons, like for Valentine's Day weekend. Like they were booked. And I booked way back in November. Like I had this idea of what I wanted to do. And I said, I need to get on. If I want to do something for Valentine's Day, I need to make these plans now. Like I have a certain rotation of like when I plan for birthdays, anniversaries, everything. So for example, I plan my birthday plans in July. My birthday's in October, but I start planning and scheming for ideas around birthdays for myself around July. I start planning it. I send invitations out Labor Day. I'm like a planner like that. When I start planning Mr. Johnson's parties, Valentine's Day, I start thinking like right before Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving time. I start thinking about Valentine's Day around that time. If I'm thinking about the holidays, Christmas time, I start doing shopping for Christmas or start thinking about Christmas planning, catering. Y'all, probably like right before around my birthday, like right before my birthday, like early October, Indigenous Day weekend. Like I start thinking about it around October. I start thinking about Christmas planning. I book a Christmas party like probably before the end of the summer. Like I'm that person. Like I have a whole routine. And this is what I call my bulletproof routine, because most of the time when I get reservations or get bookings and get stuff for things, and people say, how did you get that? Because I fucking think of this shit early. Like Martha's Vineyard, baby, I got my Martha's Vineyard beach house in December of last year for first week of August. Like anybody who travels and there's just certain types of planning you have to do if you want to get what you want. Now, let me be very clear. Could there be availability? Yes. But do you get what you want? Do you get the restaurant you want? Do you get the reservation you want? Do you get the time that you want? If you want those things, I always tell people the magic number is around 3 months. The magic number for most things, not everything. Like clearly Martha's Vineyard, that's a little crazy. But like restaurant reservations, party planning, if you really want to make a serious dent in your planning for an event or some type of thing, maybe a reservation or a date or something like, an anniversary, start planning at least 3 months in advance for anything. Just pro tip to my guys who's listening, trying to figure out anniversary plans and whatever, birthdays, 3 months, at least 3 months before. Start thinking, because most of the time reservations begin to open up or they're about to open up, or you can get some ideas around booking, but like at least 3 months. Now, some people be super, super early. And a wedding clearly, but like dinner parties, gatherings, socials, whatever, at least 3 months. At least 3 months. So I'm always planning for things 3 months or something ahead of time. Like I'm already thinking about my bestie, Jamarcus, 4th of Jamarcus, July 4th. I'm beginning to start thinking, I'm not fully there yet. I'm going, probably around after, I always match it with holidays. So around Easter-ish, I'll start thinking about his situation. Easter dinner catering, I already got my Easter catering. I already know what I'm doing for Easter. I'm already worked on that. Like I want to say around MLK Day. Like that, I'm crazy like that. But nonetheless, Sky High, I guess there's a culture. I mean, I should know. Like I like to go to Ritz Carlton sometimes, but I feel like the Ritz Carlton bar is like so not like you're in a hotel, like it's its own island, But there are people who just go up there and just go up there, and I'm just like, and as somebody who was like a actual guest at the hotel, it was a little annoying at points because I wanted to go to certain areas, but it was just too much going on. I mean, it's a first world problem clearly, but I'm just like. So even on Valentine's Day, even when you don't book the room, you still gonna go to some nice hotel and take somebody or go there and be miss the ball at the bar because you ain't got nothing else to do. Interesting. But yes, Sky High was very nice. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, my favorite restaurant in Philadelphia continues to be my favorite restaurant in Philadelphia. It just never misses a beat. We had dinner there. It was a Valentine's Day menu. They had even these custom gourmet made chocolates that they only did for Valentine's Day weekend. And they saved me the last box because they were selling it online. They were sold out, but I kept hitting them up in the DMs and told them, I really want this. And they surprised me and they had it because I thought they were saying they were sold out, but they saved me one. How sweet of them. But the bakery, the pastry chef there, her name is Amanda. And she made these gourmet chocolates and they were inspired by flavors that they used for previous desserts, cocktails. So one of the best cocktails in Philadelphia is called the Assassin's Handbook. And it's at Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they used the liqueur of the chocolate filling was made from the Assassin's Handbook cocktail mixture. It was just ingenious. It was incredible. The chocolates were so good. We got lots of chocolates. Everybody kept sending chocolates. Like Four Seasons made this gourmet chocolate little heart thing for us. Like it was just lots of chocolates, I'm on a podcast. Lots of love. Lots of love. Lots of love. So much love that I was singing on the elevator and you all were judging my vocals. That's why my vocals sound like this right now. I was out of breath. I was singing the bangers this that was on the playlist. Mutt by Leon Thomas, which is Mr. Johnson's bop. And I used to play with Summer Walker, but I do like Heart of a Woman, this new song she has. I used to play Summer Walker. Like I used to be like her, but I must say some, not all, a few of her songs snap. Now, Heart of a Woman is a great jam because it has that 90s feel. But the only thing about that song is it's so damn short that I have to play it like 3 times to fully get it out my system or get the feel of it. And I think that's what they're doing with these streams. They're making the songs shorter so you can keep replaying them. I see what they're doing. I see what these record labels are doing. But it's a bop. And she sounds so good in the song. And I couldn't stop singing it this whole weekend. And also, yeah, that and Mutt by Leon Thomas. Both of those are like my back-to-back bangers this weekend. So romantic. Our room was lovely. We were on the 54th floor. So we were in the clouds. Like the first night we had great views. The second night, because it was so foggy, it was like we felt like we were like in a whole like tunnel or something. We couldn't see anything. We got a nice massage, a crystal massage, couples massage situation on Saturday. That was really lovely. I'm still in awe of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was like more caviar, more pasta, more oysters and short rib and all this great stuff. It was just opulence. It was just excess at its finest. It was romance. It was love. It was truffles. It was all the things I wanted to be. It was so relaxing. He really enjoyed himself. And then we topped it off with a lovely romantic brunch at Sky High Brunch. All the ruffians were going by then, the folks. It was morning. They had a really great breakfast. It was like a 3-course, but they also had this like crazy, insane, like dessert bar that was like Valentine's Day themed, which by the way, so I did do my research. That dessert bar buffet unlimited thing is available for brunch all the time. But the sweet treats that were Valentine themed, like the little like strawberry pink maroons, they may not have those. but they might have plain maroons or like another flavor. But like all those desserts will be there, but they won't probably be like with the hearts and Valentine thing. Because a lot of you all were asking me that, and I didn't know at first. I was like, is this just for Valentine's Day? Like, no, they say this is always what they do. And so it's like, it's 98 per person. It's 3 courses, and the dessert bar is crazy. And they even let you take some to go. So, oh, trust and believe, baby. Them chocolate croissants, okay, and those little lovely, lemon bars and butter, chocolate chip butter cookies or whatever that was. Listen, chocolate covered strawberry, but I took about 6 of those. Oh, I was a savage. Okay, 98 per person for a brunch. Yeah, I took some things, but the brunch was fabulous. I had steak and eggs that were phenomenal. I had this tuna tartare dish for my appetizer. Mr. Johnson had, I think, it had a lobster egg dish, like a lobster Benedict. I think he had for the main course, and then I think he did avocado toast for the appetizer. But it was fancy. It was very fancy. But it was a great brunch. It was just a lovely time, full of luxurious love. Love was in the air. Love was felt. The massages, it was a beautiful time. I really enjoyed myself so much. Also, shout out to Cake Life Bakery. Cake Life Bake Shop is what they call themselves. Yeah, Cake Life Bake Shop. You probably have heard them a lot on this podcast. They make my birthday cakes. They made my wedding cake. They always do my birthday cake, wedding cake, special celebration cakes. They did my book signing kickoff cake. They made that. They designed it. Anytime I need a designer, I always support them. Trans owned, women owned. It's just a great place to be. So they had a naughty Valentine's Day cookie collection where you could get very provocative messages put on these cookies. And I took full advantage of them, and I put some very fun, raunchy things on my cookies. I won't tell you what they are because it's a little awkward to say on air. But they made these, and it was for Valentine's Day. And so I got a nice set of them, and it was very sexy. It was very fun. So if you saw, I took a picture, but some of it I had to cover some of those cookies because they was like a little too not safe for work, but they were hot. And I highly recommend people order them in the future. This is like the 3rd consecutive year they've done this. Like, it's like a thing they do every Valentine's Day. I didn't do them last time. I never done them before because I think I would miss out. But I said this year I'm doing it, and I did, and I was very happy. Before I move on to some other things on my list, I do want to add that Mr. Johnson's birthday gift for me was a very sentimental gift. And I've never told this story because I like to have a conclusion or some level of a happy ending. And unless there's a happy ending, I won't tell the story in its completion because I'm waiting for that conclusion. However it ends, sometimes it can end tragically, who knows, right? But in this story that I'm going to tell you, hit this gift and why it was sentimental. I kept teasing him about the gift. I said, it is something that only I can give you, and it will hold sentimental value. No one else can give you this gift. No one else will understand the importance of it, and no one else can find this. So I have a story to tell you. Now I can tell it because it's a good story. I did something really bad. In 2022, when we moved to our new place, I was really big on trying to get rid of excess waste. And what I mean by that is that Mr. Johnson loves to hoard shoe boxes. And so when he buys shoes, he puts the shoes in the box, yada, yada. I am not that person because I just hate boxes and things. So I have like a little rack. I put my shoes in a certain rack, yada, 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 yada. So we had our wedding shoes, and here y'all go. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. I'll tell you what happened. We had our wedding shoes, and our wedding shoes are very iconic. They were these very, very nice blue suede custom blue shoes. And, I took my shoes out, and I put them in the rack, and I took his shoes out. I was taking a lot of shoes out. So I took all the shoes out, and then all the boxes I discarded. Somehow, I don't know, in the rush of moving, because this was all during packing and unpacking, But in the process of taking these boxes out, I guess I did not remember that, oh, there should have been 2 blue suede shoes. So in the process of dumping all these boxes out, his shoes were they were there. It was very hard. He did not take that really well. And it was just awkward because like every time we look at our wedding pictures, his shoes were just not there. So I felt bad because I was like, oh fuck, I'm never gonna find these. I don't, It was just heartbreaking. It was rough. So I don't know. Something in me was like, I'm gonna find these fucking shoes. Persistence, people, persistence. Well, a couple of months ago, just looking on the internet, I found them on eBay. And I got those goddamn shoes. We won't talk about what I had to do to get them fucking shoes, but I got them fucking shoes. They were on eBay. And I surprised him with the box with the shoes. And he was so, let's just say listen, it was just so, it was love. It was very, I am husband of the year. Okay, I am husband of the year. Now, some of y'all might say, well, you fucked up. You made the mess. Listen, I'm like Trump. I might have said ban TikTok, but if I save TikTok, you give me credit for that. Well, fuck him. We're not giving him credit for that. But still, you get what I mean. I fixed it, though. I fixed it. I got his shoes. It was in his size. I found the shoes. I didn't even, all I'm going to say to y'all, and see, this is just weird to me. How the fuck? I'm not even going to go, you know what? I'm just happy I got the shoes. But what this told me, and I know, but motherfuckers really be going these trash cans. Motherfuckers really don't actually be disposing shit. Like, people really go through mail. People I'm like slightly paranoid now. Now I want to shred everything. But I found those shoes. I found his shoes. I found our shoes. And they were on eBay. They're on eBay. It was meant to be, y'all. I just believe it was divine intervention, but it was meant to be. And when he opened up that box and he saw them, he just was this, he could never believe, he just was just, you all should have seen him. He was just so like, whoa. Now, to be clear, there's nothing else that I've lost or broke. That was the only time. I'm really good with shit. I don't lose shit often, y'all. I never have. Like, I am a good keeper of receipts, keeper of things. Okay, I'm the natural. If you ask me in the house, nothing is lost in my house. Like, if you ask me, like, he'll ask me sometimes, where's the so-and-so? I'm like, oh, in the corner, in the back, blah, blah. For whatever reason, it was just one of those times. But, like, moving does that to you. Like, you can be moving and just shit it. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I am able to rest well knowing that the one thing that was just a crisis in this marriage has been resolved. 3.5 years later, it got resolved. I did it. So, it's a great love story. This weekend was a full circle love story. It was a full circle love story. He got his shoes. My heart is just full. Everything is restored. Nature is healing itself. So, in other things this past week, I was ripping and running. Philadelphia Distilling, which is my favorite bar, had their 8th birthday. And before I showed up to another event, right after brunch, I got my ass over there to Philadelphia Distilling at Blue Coat and celebrated with them. They had $8, in honor of their 8th anniversary, their cocktails were $8. They had all their hits over the years that they brought back, and the cocktails were $8 only that day. Now, for those who go to Philadelphia Distilling, y'all know an $8 cocktail. Those cocktails, that was a sweep. So I enjoyed those cocktails. They were great. I went with one of my frat brothers. It was fabulous. And then, following that, my chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Road chapter, we had our first ever spades tournament. And y'all know I love spades. So, I was in the tournament. Shout out to my girls, Sharnae, and my other AK girls from Omega Mega chapter who showed up and showed love. It was a competitive spades tournament. There was several rounds. There was a beginner's round, semifinals, and the finals. And as you go up, the scores went up. So the beginner's round, it was 350. So we went against, my partner and I went against a group, these AKAs that were really, really good. And it was a 350, and we won that. Then we moved to the semifinals round, and it got really rough. But we came out on top because they moved the point score. You had to get 500s in order to get to the level. And then we made it to the finals. And the cash prize was $300, I think it was. It was $300. We lost. But to be clear, we fought hard. My partner ended up cutting me in a round, and that set us, and then the other team won. It's okay. So the craziest story is that the team that won, the person that played on that team is usually my spades partner. He's my line brother. He's knowing my space partner, but he wanted to play with his friend, which is also on our line. And he's in, where is he? He went to Lincoln. They both went to Lincoln together. So they were partners. And then my partner, who is not, he's also my frat brother, but he's my line brother too. Like, we're on the same line. We all went against other people, but we were all line brothers, and we made it to the finals in our entire chapter. We went against AKAs, we went against other people from other groups, but the four of us were all on the same line, and we made it to the finals, and we were the final players. Because my line know how to play fucking spades. All of us know how to play some spades well. So I was very happy to even be a finalist. So now no one questions my ability to play spades. I mean, they wasn't really anyway, but I told them I'm a spadesman. So the fact that I made it to the finals, the fact that we, they did their big one, but they all know, okay, Ernest can play some spades. Because they were all like, you sure? I'm like, oh, I can play. And I never renege. Never renege. Okay, I never renege. This is going over so many of you all's heads right now. It's fine, but this is serious. So for those who do play spades, let me tell you what my partner did that got us screwed. So, they always say in spades, don't renege. But the other thing is, don't cut your partner. So let me just, for those who play spades can understand what happened. We were playing with people who knew how to bid. Let me tell you this. We don't collect bags over here, okay? We're not Erykah Badu. We're not bag ladies. We be earning our books. We be, whatever. So in the final round, I had recognized that my partner did not have any more clubs. But clearly, both of the other players had clubs. I only had an ace of clubs and a king of clubs, which meant that if my partner had no clubs, both of the other partners, the other opponents had clubs, right? So you all know that if you do not have the card and your partner is leading with the winning card, right? You don't put out a spade. You throw out, right? You throw off. You just throw off. So I put out an ace of clubs. The other guy went next to me. He went. The other guy clearly had a club. He put out a club. My partner saw that I put out an ace. So he was like, okay, let me put out a heart. He didn't cut me. Then the other guy put out a club. Now, the other guy did not have any spades. And so we knew from the beginning of that game that he had no spades. So what that meant is that he was never going to, because you see the rotation, right? It was me, the opponent, my partner, and the guy with no spades. So if you're mentalizing this with me, you know how this is working, right? So my logic is I am going to play clubs so that, one, if I got a leading club, I'm going to keep getting them. But also, in the event that I run out my clubs and the other guy, right, the person next to me tries to cut me, my partner should trump him with a bigger spade or whatever, right? So I played the ace of clubs. Nobody had, clearly I got that, right? I got that book because my partner didn't have any, right? So I knew. So then I put out the king of clubs. At this point, this is the second time clubs have been played. So they're going to have to play clubs again. My partner should just throw off again, right? Right? Nope. This dude puts out spades and cuts me. And then I'm like, fuck. That could have been a book. You should have saved that fucking spade. And because of that, he cut the book, which meant we had a lesser book, and that's how we got set. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. But for those who play spades, your heart is breaking with me. I was I do like to win, y'all. You know, I like to win. But I just was like, you know what? It's okay. Because the Neos still won the tournament. It's fine. So, nonetheless, you know, we got set and the other team won. But long story short, to Darnell, the ace of our line, you need to be my spades partner again. And we need to not be switching partners. Because in a perfect world, me and Darnell would have won if we were we were going to win if we would. They didn't even want us to be partners because every time we play, we kill it. And it was like almost like they didn't even, it was like a football game where they didn't want to play the hard teams first. They spread us out so we wouldn't clash because we knew we were going to make it to the finals. Kind of like the Chiefs and the Eagles, I suppose, right? We wanted to save the best for last because we knew we didn't want to cancel each other out too early in the game. We knew we had to wait for the grand finale because we knew we was going to meet each other there. And we did because we can play the hell out of some cards. So I love playing spades. I love playing spades. If you know how to play spades, play with me. I will play it any day. And I know Dr. Parks is somewhere, my good friend, she don't like the argument that come with it. It doesn't have to be an argument. It just has to be pay attention. And if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it, which means don't play. My husband can play too. That's how we first started dating. We was playing spades in the boys' college house in the multi-purpose room, the NPR. That's how we started. That was like the first. Well, we first met each other at a frat party. No, a sorority party. Take that back. We was at an AKA party. Yes. We met at a party for a friend. And then after that, the next time we saw each other was at a Delta's event. So funny, it was Greek. It was a Delta's Spades Water Ice Social. And that was the second time we saw each other. And we were spades partners and we connected over spades. Spades and food and drink is our love language. I digress. Okay. Spades tournament was great. Blue coat. 8th anniversary was awesome. Other things I want to tell you all. Angelo's cheesesteaks is now at Uber Eats. I want to say this to you all because a lot of you all, you know, might have been able to see it. But I told you all Angelo's is one of the top cheesesteak pizzeria places in the city. For a long time, it was a debate about Angelo's, like would Angelo's have any food available, you know, would they ever put their cheesesteaks available? Because they were always putting their pizzas online. But it was always a question of whether or not they would ever put their actual pizzas online. And so that was always a debate. Well, the cheesesteaks are now online. But the dates are, they're only available like on Wednesdays. They're not available on Mondays, Tuesdays, Sundays, or whatever, but they're available on Wednesdays starting at 12 p.m. Now, you know, I love me some food. So I scheduled my delivery for my drop off for my Angelo's cheesesteak. They came to me. I you know what? I have to say this. That might have been the best cheesesteak I've had in a long time. I know I was in love. I know I've been in love and faithful to, you know, I've been faithful for a long time to D'Alessandro's. But I have to say that Angelo's cheesesteak might be more superior. Don't tell nobody I said this. I know. I didn't want to be, because I used to get annoyed with Angelo's because like, it's that long-ass fucking line. I want to wait for the line. But, baby, that Uber Eats delivery, that cheesesteak came very warm, very gooey. That Cooper, I got it with the Cooper Sharp. That roll, that bread, everything about that cheesesteak was top tier. I really loved that cheesesteak. I tore that cheesesteak up. Okay, you don't need any fries. You don't need any onion. You don't need none of that. You just need the cheesesteak. And don't even put anything on it. Just get the cheese with the meat with it. That's all you need. It is so savory, so rich, so tender. That ribeye, everything about it was perfection. It might be, in my opinion, the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia right now. I can't even hold you. It is the best cheese. You know what? Fuck it. It was the best cheesesteak I've had in a long ass time. And the fact that I don't even have to wait in line anymore. Oh my God. Because that's why I was turned off, because of the lines. I was turned off because of the lines. Never again. Okay. Matter of fact, Mr. Johnson, that's what we're going to have to celebrate. We're going to keep the birthday going. You know, for lunch, baby, we're going to have And I'm gonna order the Angelo's cheesesteak. I'm gonna get it ordered. Oh, that's right. It's not open till Wednesday, so I can't even fucking get it. Okay, fine. I can't have it because it's Monday. But I'm getting Wednesday. I'm scheduling my cheesesteak. I'm gonna get it right after my class. I'm gonna get it for lunch. It's gonna get here at noon at my place. I'm gonna tear that thing up. It's already in my calendar. I'm eating that cheesesteak again. I might have an addiction to cheesesteak. I only do like cheesesteaks like twice a year, 3 times a year maybe. You know what? Okay, let me take that back. Because somebody was about to get me together. Okay, let me stop myself. It is not my number one cheesesteak. It is good. Jim's West. Sorry, Jim's West. Black owned Jim's West in West Philly. Let me slow down. Jim's West is actually the best. Sorry. Jim's West is the best. Jim's West is the best cheesesteak in Philly. I had to remind myself. However, Jim's West does not do delivery. It does not do Uber Eats. It doesn't do anything. You have to go and order it, get it, and pick it up. I almost forgot. Okay, Jim's West is still my favorite cheesesteak in Philly. Let me slow down. But Angelo's cheesesteak is top tier. And when I don't want to wait in line at Jim's West, because I didn't say Jim's South, there is a difference. Because they're not owned by the same people. Okay? Jim's West is black owned. But that Angelo's, that is going to be my new delivery baby. Because I don't want it, because the Angelo line is ridiculous. I will never wait in line for them. Their pizza is good too. Even though my husband, I don't know, listen, his favorite pizza, y'all, is Santucci's. And number 2 is Emmy Squared. Those are his favorite pizzas in Philly. I ain't gonna hold you. People be playing with Santucci's. Don't play with Santucci's. And Emmy Square is good. It's a little bit of a chain, a little small chain, but it's good. But Angelo's pizza is good too. Okay. Pizzeria Badia is my favorite, but that's like very upscale, like restaurant situation. Okay. Do I want to write on myself? Y'all gonna find I'm basic, and I don't want y'all to know. Well, I'm not that basic, but y'all gonna find I'm a little basic sometimes. Listen, I don't know. On a drunken evening, late at night, and pizza do what you do. Now, is it the best pizza in the world? No, but and pizza be doing this thing. Some of y'all be getting these really messed up pizza places that y'all go up for. And also, shout out to Smokey Joe's. NJ's Pizza, those who know it's some good ass pizza too. Okay? But Angelo's Pizza is definitely in the top 5. I do like Santucci's with my husband. A good Supreme from Santucci's hit the spot. And I do like Emmy Square too. I like that crust. Now, Down North Pizza I like too, but Down North Pizza don't really do delivery like that. So you have to go pick it up. And I get Down North like maybe once or twice a year. Because again, like if y'all ain't delivering, like I mean, it's hard for me to just stop somewhere and pick up something. But like, yeah, those are my top tiers. But food is fooding. The food is fooding. But yeah, I mean, we have so much to catch up on, as you can see. And I just want to say, because I know Nina listens to this podcast a lot. Both Nina and Samantha, my girls, they've been teasing me about my vocals on the elevator. I want to tell this small story before we get into hot topics very soon. But I did a prank. I used to do a lot of pranks in college. I was a big prankster. Like, my friends would tell you, I was a big prankster in college. I used to always do, I'm not going to tell everything, all the pranks I did, but I was a big prankster. I did some shit that looking back, I should have got my ass beat. But but I made it alive. I made it out alive. So one prank I did, they both, Nina and Samantha, they both sung at my wedding. They can sing like nobody's business. They're so good that people in my friends are booking them to do events and things because that's just how good they can sing. So Nina and Sam, they were part of a group called The Inspiration, which is this incredible singing group at Penn. Like, many people did it. But they also have a history. Inspiration has a history of rejecting people. History has it, I think they rejected John Legend. Maybe they did. Did they ever reject John Legend? I think they did. They rejected somebody popular. I don't remember this. I could be wrong. But there was people who I've auditioned that could not get into there. Them vocals had to be vocaling. So I auditioned to play with them. They were there auditioning people, and people were really serious. But I got in line, I showed up, And I was there to prank them. And they were like, what's your name? I'm like, y'all know my name. But I was doing like the American Idol. And I started singing a song. I think I sung Weak by SWV, which I butchered. I couldn't sing the song. But I just wanted to just make them laugh so bad because they were like in there like doing these auditions. And they literally played the guy, I forgot, somebody played the piano and I just started singing and I was horrible. And they just had to keep a straight face and try to stay serious. But I was just trolling them and it was hilarious. But like, I was singing on the elevator to in the Four Seasons this weekend doing the singing and they were like, okay, vocals, like teeth. Like they've been gasping me like, okay, vocals, whatever. I'm like, stop playing. I wanted to be like, stop playing. Because I'm just like, y'all be playing. Like, look, well, let me see. Nina said, okay, vocals. And this is when I was singing Mutt by, and then she said, sang, oh yeah. And Samantha was like, sang, friend, yes. Like, they need to stop. Because I'm horrible. I cannot, I can't, I don't know. My singing is all over the place. I can do musicals, like not extreme musicals. I can hold a note for like a musical. But like serious vocal singing, listen, everybody got their talents. I can't sing and I can't drive. But you know what? I can act, I can speak, and I can ride. No pun intended. Okay? We know our talents. I can't sing and I can't sing and I can't drive. I don't have a driver's license. I don't know how to drive. My singing is just as bad as my driving. And I just know my limits. But we could always play with vocals, but don't you play behind the wheel. If you don't know how to drive, get the fuck out the way. But singing, no bad singing ever hurt nobody. And then lastly, if you are free, I know I'm hitting y'all up at the last minute with this, but if you're free this Monday, there is a free event that I'm participating in this on Monday for President's Day, actually. I'm on a panel for the Urban League of Philadelphia. They're doing a panel called Charting the Course, and it's an advocacy panel, and it's at the Sky Lounge at the Free Library on 1901 Vine Street. And this is going to be Monday, February 17th, of course, Monday, from 6 to 8 p.m. So I'm going to be on that panel. It is free. If you would like to come, show up. I'm going to be on this panel with State Rep Anthony Bellman, Deborah Watson Stokes, who's at the District Attorney's Office. She's also running for judge. And some other great speakers who will also be present as well. So I look forward to being on this panel. Shout out to having a panel with people under 40 on it, because my goodness, some of these panels, y'all. But shout out to Urban League, shout out to Next Philadelphia for empowering communities and changing lives. So I love to be on a panel. Your girl is booked and busy. And I look forward to sharing my thoughts on charting the course and advocacy. It should be fun. It should be a great conversation. So you can catch me at the Free Library on Monday. If you have nothing to do on a Monday and you want to see me, and I love to see you all. A lot of y'all hit me up and show love and do all that. So by all means, I'll be there. Other things that's going on. That panel's happening. Mr. Johnson's shoes. I'm going to save my notes about the Beyonce concert because y'all had questions about that. But I'm saving that for later in the podcast because I don't want to, But that has been my week. So if you follow Mr. Johnson on social media on Monday, wish him a happy birthday. He just turned a big 30. All right, now to hot topics. Corruption is at an all-time high with Trump and Elon Musk. I mean, there's just a lot of weird things happening. I can go on a long list about some of these financial policies. The Trump administration is telling agencies to cut 200,000 workers who are on a quote-unquote probation or new enough to their jobs they don't have a permanent status yet, which is a mess. They're trying to cut deep. They're trying to restructure government efficiency. That's what they're claiming. It's the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, or whatever they call it, DOGE. And they want to shape the remains, right? There's a lot of work on, some of these conflict interests, right? People are saying that they think that this is trying to boost Elon Musk's business interests, that some of these changes and cuts is going to hurt people, right? The Department of Veteran Affairs, okay? We're talking about the VA, okay? We're talking about the VA. Veterans that may not get certain service and necessities. There's a lot of massive cuts that is taking place. Um, so, a lot of stuff that's going on. People talk about how, Twitter, he cut 70% of the workforce, which led to things being inefficient. Twitter had a lot of bugs, a lot of hiccups, and a lot of stuff going on because he cut Twitter by 75% of staff. And even realized that it was a lot of issues. I mean, he was ignoring bills for office leases. At one point, he wasn't even paying for janitorial services at Twitter offices. Like that level of frugality. And mind you, Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, but he's also the cheapest motherfucker in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kind of stuff that people are doing with government resources. Like, I don't know. Like, this country is a rich ass country, and yet they want to talk about efficiency. But this is impacting people. And I mean, they're cutting deep. 200,000 jobs out the city. Like, this is tough. Um, you know, the IRS is expected to lay off thousands of people. A lot of these jobs are getting hit very, very hard. Um, Other things happening in the world. And I have an assessment about all this. I'm telling you all this information because I'm going to put this in context about my analysis about what we're seeing right now. Um, as you all know, with the facts, military spending in the U.S. is changing. The Ukrainian war, President, he's not feeling good about the U.S.'s support of the war in Ukraine. Now, I was critiquing him a couple of episodes ago about how he's critical about Biden. And now it looks like Trump is not really going to really put much money on that. And Zelensky, who is the leader of Ukraine, he said, quote, "We as a sovereign country simply will not be able to accept any agreements without us," is what he said, because Trump snubbed Europe in the Russia-Ukraine peace talks. He's also negotiating with Vladimir Putin as well. And, Trump spoke with Zelensky only after he got off the phone with Putin. So Europeans are feeling some type of way. NATO's feeling some type of way. Europe's relationship with the U.S. is, a mess. And this rift between the U.S. and Europe could really be good news for China, which is very interesting because Trump talks all this shit about China, but a lot of stuff that he's doing is actually handing China something more. Even though J.D. Vance is out here telling the Wall Street Journal that Russia could get more sanctions if they don't agree to peace. So I'm just like, well, which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? I'm at a certain point where the inconsistencies are just not adding up for me. But So before I get into my larger analysis, because I've been very mindful about how I want to talk about this man and this dimwit Elon, and how to put this all in full context, and also provide a level of realistic, measurable hope. Meaning that I'm not trying to just make you feel good to feel good. I'm giving you insight that might give you a level of, it's not the end just yet. Hold on tight. So one thing about it is that, a lot of Trump's biggest supporters, people he backed, the Senate confirmed RFK Jr. as our health secretary. It was a 52-48 vote. Of course, Republicans voted straight down, for the most part, with the exception of Mitch McConnell. Because, he survived polio, so he's very pro-vaccine. He was the only Republican to oppose Kennedy. Because the Republicans have 53 people in the Senate, Democrats have 47. So pretty much, if the Senate Republicans stay loyal, they will forever continue to get what they want. And yeah, it's a mess. But that wasn't the only, crazy person that got what they wanted. A lot of people were speculating, what was it going to look like with some of the other appointments that was in the conversation. Like, what was going to happen with, Kash Patel, who was supposed to be the big supporter there. What was supposed to happen with, other leaders that, people were questioning their loyalties and their support. Tulsi Gabbard, right? She got in as the National Intelligence Director, 52 to 48. Once again, Mitch McConnell broke ranks to vote against her confirmation. Like, none of these people, listen, these are not qualified people for these roles. But nonetheless, they're going. So let me explain in a nutshell my thoughts about what we're seeing right now with this whole Trump thing or whatever. My husband is wrapping up his master's program, which he did in he did the thing with he's in his program, he's studying leadership. And we talked about what is a leader, right? By definition, a straight and narrow definition, nothing too fancy, wonky, right? A leader is a person that is able to organize or galvanize a group of people to advance a cause of their desire. So in other words, the leader has a thing that they want. The leader has a vision. The leader has some things they want to accomplish. They cannot accomplish it on their own, because therefore they're not a leader at that point. They're just a person who just succeeded, right? They can't coerce people. Like, they just can't put a gun to somebody's head and say, do it. They have to actually mobilize and influence, and they have to do it in the ways in which they do it and galvanize. They have to organize and mobilize people to make that happen. Leaders lead, right? They lead people to do something. And it's something that they desire. There's something that they want, right? Or something they think is a good, desirable thing, either for themselves or for the people or for whatever the purpose is that it serves. It is something of their desired want, and they're galvanizing and leading people to it. Now, me describing leadership in that way and defining it in that way, you realize a lot of people that should be quote unquote leaders are not leaders, right? What has happened through time is that people think that titles and positions automatically make you a leader, right? If you're a city council member, oh, I'm a leader because I'm a city council member. No, that doesn't mean you're a leader automatically, right? You're in a position that can set you up to be a leader, but you're not automatically a leader based on the title. And so there's a lot of people that think that automatically a title means that everything they do within the title means that they're a leader. That's not true. And the question about a leader is that I always tell people, because I can call myself a leader. I am a leader. Okay? I am a leader. I have led things. I have galvanized, organized, I've influenced people to do a certain thing in a desirability. I've moved people to push a policy. I have moved people to change an organization. I've moved people to do things of my desirability. That was my influence. That is a leader. I didn't have to pay off people. I didn't have to scare people. I didn't have to manipulate people. I didn't have to I legitimately organize and influence people to do a certain thing, right? That's leadership. And I have led before, and I lead now. There's a lot of people amongst us that are not leaders. And Trump is not a leader. So what is Trump? Trump is a dictator. Trump seeks to be a dictator. Trump does not have the ability to lead, right? Now, when he ran for office, right, as a candidate, Trump was a leader as a candidate. He was able to organize and rally people to elect him. Okay. He was a leader as a candidate. There are some people I tell people that they're better candidates than they're elected officials. I have seen certain people where I'm like, when you ran for office, you was a leader. Like, you influenced your rhetoric. You was out organized. You knocked on doors. You led people to elect you. But most leaders I'm seeing in Philadelphia politics, their best leadership was when they were running as a candidate than they actually were when they had the seat. And I'm going to say something really, I guess, controversial. Maybe. Or not. But most elected officials exhibit leadership more. Most elected leaders, most elected officials exhibit leadership skills more so during their campaigns than they do when they actually hold office. I can definitely say it in Philadelphia. There are some people I can say that's not a leader. That's not a leader. Because I'm not trying to only hold this contempt for Trump. I want to be really clear that the Trump problem is a Democratic Party problem. It's a problem with the Republican Party. It's a problem with the two-party system. It's an issue with American politics in general. Like, all of this there is shame and blame across the board. So with Trump, he's not a leader. And he's a dictator. And dictators are not leaders. They're not leaders. Dictators are not leaders. Abusing power to manipulate a result, stealing, lying, cheating, that's not leadership. You have power, but you're not a leader. And people think that people have power or a position or a title means they're a leader. But when you start asking people, what the fuck are you leading? No shade. Like, what are you actually leading? What are you actually influencing? What people are you mobilizing to do the thing? And so this brings me back to the issue right now within Trump's regime. Even though Trump has control of the House and Trump has control of the Senate and arguably the Supreme Court, you would think that all of this shit that he's passing right now, all these policies, executive orders that he's trying to put in place, there's a wall. Congress holds the purse strings. Like, structurally, Congress decides funding and things. Like, the fact that this man tried to freeze some shit and judges are like, no, motherfucker, you cannot just freeze federal funding. Like, no. You gotta let that shit go. He let go of some of them freezes. Like, that shit flopped. But the theory is with him is, okay, let me flood the zone, because that's what Steve Bannon said. He talked about a muzzle. He talked about these ways to, if you create a bunch of issues, you create a bunch of throwing things, it makes everybody dizzy. The media is too busy reporting it, and you all can't keep up, right? I don't even try to talk about all the fucked up things Trump did, because Trump is literally flooding the zone. So what that means is he's just doing all these crazy things left and right, and you can't keep up. It's just boom, boom, bam, bam, bam. He's doing this while at the same time not accomplishing a damn thing, because he's going over Congress's head. Right now, House Republicans only have a 3-person majority over Democrats. And so the question becomes, you're wondering, why won't Trump, with a Republican majority in Senate, why won't he just push this the legal way? Because Trump does not have the universal support of his party collectively to guarantee victories in his policies. So if he tried to propose that there was legislation to freeze federal funding on shit, they would not get the money. The Republicans, there will be Republicans that will vote against that in their particular districts and areas, because Congress people, right, they live in districts where, that's why Congress was given so much power. Like, even though we talk about the executive branch, we talk about the executive branch, the legislative branch, and we talk about, of course, the judicial branch. The legislative branch, which is Congress, is arguably the most powerful one, because they pretty much dictate what the other ones do, right? They set the flow. The judicial kind of reinforces it. The executive tries to mandate it, but it's really Congress that really holds it, right? And so Trump, I think the issue is Trump realizes that because it is a slim margin supporting Congress, because you got to remember, it goes through Congress. We got to remember, I'm Just a Bill by Schoolhouse Rock. It goes to Congress, then it goes to the Senate. Well, if shit ain't going out of Congress, it can't go to the Senate. The Senate is a little bit more easier to get shit, because if whoever got the majority in the Senate for the most part, it'll get done. So if Republicans send something through Congress, through the Senate, it will pass because the majority of Republicans control the Senate. But if Congress does not support something or cannot get something passed, it can't even get to the Senate fucking floor. So if Democrats continue to hold the line, and there's a couple of Republicans who might tilt the vote, then nothing the fuck is getting the Senate that is radical or extreme. And a lot of Trump's proposals are very radical and extreme. And the reality is that a lot of Republicans, there's enough Republicans that think Trump goes too far that will not support some of this crazy shit Trump is doing. Because they got to go back to their constituents where they have tougher races, and that's going to impact. There was a special election in one state for a state senator race that the person that ran for the state senator seat, there had a 75% voter popularity voted for Trump. And it got flipped by a Democrat in a special election just this month. Y'all, 75% of that district voted for Trump in 2024. The fact that they flipped the special election seat for a Democrat in that same district a couple of months later tells me a lot about Trump's trajectory. Y'all, if the Democrats play it smart, they can take back the House in 2026. I am going to say, if Trump continues to fuck up like he is, which he is fucking up brilliantly, Democrats take back the House in 2026. The Senate, they can make some inroads with the Senate. They might finally take back the Senate in 2028 if Trump continues to fail. But the rate that he's going, they're going to lose the House in 2026. Y'all better thank House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. I'm going to speak it now. Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries. The New Yorker is finally getting in. We're going to get a black man as a Speaker of the House if everything continues to go at the rate that it's going. We're seeing a backpedal. Even in the votes, there was a poll that showed that in January, I think, early January, 60% of Democrats, or just voters in general, I think, wanted Democrats. It was just a poll. Take that back. It was a poll that had said that 67% of pollsters or voters that were polled in January had said that they wanted Democrats to work with Trump administration and work with the Republicans and work with him to get shit done. Well, that dropped to the mid-30s in February. So whatever ounce of faith or hope, whatever mileage that he had, has diminished very quickly. He's losing support. His popularity, right now in the polls around the same time, I believe is lower than Biden, or just lower than Biden's was a couple years when he started. Like, Trump's popularity and favorability is very not good. And all these cuts and changes across the board got everybody the fuck shook. Republicans are like, what the fuck? Them eggs go down. Did y'all said y'all didn't support Kamala because of the eggs. The eggs are going up. Shit is going up. And I'm just trying to, why? Why are things going up? You're cutting jobs. And what's so fucked up about it is that Elon Musk, I think, thinks that cutting these jobs, he's taking out Democrats that got these very liberal ideologies. Like Veteran Affairs, the VA, most of these government DC workers are very neutral. Many of them are conservative. They're not like maybe MAGA conservatives, but they're regular, everyday people. And what you're failing to realize is if you're cutting 200,000 jobs, first of all, that's also impacting millions of people. Because if it's 200,000 workers, those 200,000 people got families, livelihoods that are impacted by this. So you're screwing over millions of people instantly. And if you don't think that that's not going to impact the upcoming election, baby, that's enough to kill an election. So this brings me back to leadership. There's no accountability in Congress. Republicans in Congress, for the most part, could be bucking at Trump, challenging him with his executive orders. Listen, there have been times where Democrat majority leaders did not support people, Republican majorities. George W. Bush had an appointment he wanted for a position. Republicans, this is back when he was president. Republicans did not like one of his picks. It was a woman that he wanted to pick. They didn't think that they questioned her conservative views, and she didn't get the nomination. That was Republicans who led that effort. It was Republicans who got together that told Richard Nixon he needs to consider resigning from the White House for president, right? There has been a history of party leaders going up against the grain. There was somebody that Obama wanted to put in a financial leadership role, and this person had back taxes that they didn't take care of and not pay, and they were a healthcare leader. Obama did not, at that point, that guy took himself out because he figured that even though Democrats had the majority at the time, that they wasn't going to make him go through because of his tax issues in the past. So, both parties have had people within their own hold them accountable. Right now, Congress is not being leaders. They're not mobilizing and galvanizing to improve the quality of living for their people. They're just being yes men. But they swear that's Democrats. They swear Democrats are yes men and yes people. They're sheep to these policies and these tactics. But in reality, they're not. They want to achieve the same things like the next person. But yet we find ourselves in this conundrum all the time over these appointments and debates. And so for me, I'm at a point where I'm just like, you know what? I see it for what it is. It's time for people to be real. It's time for people to recognize what's going on. And back to Trump. Trump's a coward. We know this, but Trump's a coward. Trump does not have the leadership to galvanize Congress to pass his stuff. So he keeps going over their head, which creates in many ways an unconstitutional crisis. But thank God for these judges. They keep bucking at all this shit he's trying to do. I mean, transgender bans, all this stuff. Judges are slapping that shit the fuck down. Judges are exhibiting leadership. They're answering the call of the people. They're making decisions. They're galvanizing their teams to fight against this, and they're achieving what they want. Leadership is missing in Congress. Leadership is missing in the Senate. Even with the appointments, these appointments are ass. You could at least be like, you know what? These people batshit crazy. Trump, go back to the drawing board and get somebody better. But they won't. Because to be honest, Trump doesn't really have that many alternatives. So, leadership is where it's at. But I think that also tells us something. That he does not have the full backing and mandate of his own party to push things. So he's going over their head. And that's what's causing confusion. I think about Obama and what leadership looks like when it came to Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. Obama was very strategic. He let Biden help him go down there. He was not the most, he was the president, but he wasn't the most, statesman. Biden knew folks. Biden got Republicans and other people. He was able to get people across the aisle to get this done. And as much as Trump has tried to repeal Obamacare, it's still here. You know why it's here? Because that's what leadership looks like. Because people actually wanted it on both sides. And as much as Republicans will complain about little provisions and details, they don't want Obamacare to get cut. We saw Senator McCain be the nail in the coffin, again, against his own party, to defy Trump before it became passed, said no, and killed whatever they tried to do to kill Obamacare. That's leadership. But we don't see that with Trump. Trump is a dictator. Trump wants to be a king. Trump does not want to lead. Trump just wants to rule. He wants to be a ruler, but he does not want to be a leader. And I think because he has realized presidents have to work with the other branches of government. The executive branch has to work with the judicial branch and legislative branch to achieve things. That's what presidents do. That's what a democracy, in a U.S. democracy or a republic, whatever you want to say, the branches have to check and balance each other and work with each other. Trump is trumping that, literally. And as a result, it's pushing back and boomerang effect. And his own party can't even help him because he won't even listen to them, where they can't even help tweak these policies or put them through the smell test. So the shit is just funky from beginning to end. And as a result of that, I feel like these midterm elections, there's going to be some blood. I'm saying it now. If he continues at this rate, there was a reporter in politics that said that they feared, which they thought Trump was going to do, and if Trump would have done, they would have called it successful, is what if Trump would have decided to go, you know what? I'm going to move behind the scenes on policy. I'm going to play nice with the Democrats. I'm going to, do a couple of things, right? I'm going to address some of these border issues. I'm going to do a couple of my policies with Congress. I'm going to figure out a couple of things I want to get done. I'm going to test the waters on some things. If he would have moved more stealth, if he would have just been more low-key and not came in banging, that should have everybody the fuck scared. Honestly, Trump doing what Trump is doing right now is so predictable, but it makes him weak and it makes him vulnerable. Like if Trump would have did the opposite effect, where he would have just came in, he would have played nice, he would have acted quote-unquote presidential, whatever the hell Van Jones think it is, and he would have just been working behind the scenes, giving a couple of little doggy bones and treats, figuring out the things that he know that most voters care about, or some voters express they cared about, right? Like apparently the border is an issue, right? But if he would have just did the border, he would have did little things, right? And just would have built momentum. He could have slid some legislation very slowly through congressional bills, and he would have gotten some things more. But now, and also how he moves, he's so loud and so obvious about what he wants to do that now everybody sees it and everyone can prepare and strategize on how to combat what the fuck he's doing. And he's not getting really much done because nothing is actually material. And I think that is something that a lot of people are not paying attention to because they're so busy. Look, it's so easy to be afraid. It's so easy to continue to be, it's so easy to be scared. But I think it's also a situation where you have to be, you just have to, if you're going to live and you're going to fight, then fight. Fight, y'all. Like, fight the real fight. Like, stand strong. Stand bold. Put your all into it. But that's just, I don't know. I just want people to be a little bit more optimistic. And I get it. I mean, we're in some times where it is sometimes hard to be those things. But I also think doom scrolling and whatnot isn't the answer either. And so just have a little hope, y'all. Just have a little bit of optimism and be woke and stay woke and read and speak out. But just, it's not over yet. He wants you to think it's over. He wants you to stop pushing. But this man does not have the full power unless we give it to him. And if our judges can fight the fight, fight it. Fight it. Because I am. So moving along, Eric Adams appears to be a free mayor for now. This is New York City Mayor Eric Adams, disgraced mayor. There's a lot going on. The U.S. attorney in Manhattan and several officials in Washington resigned after the Justice Department's order to drop the corruption case against Eric Adams. So, as of right now, the case is dropped for the most part. Eric Adams is pretty much about to be a free man. You know, just putting that there. Now, Emile Bouve, or Beauvais, I'm probably butchering his name. He is the Justice Department official who ordered the case to be dropped. He guided Eric Adams' defense lawyers as they crafted an argument for dismissing the case. Just, you know, do what you will with that. Now, Danielle Sassoon, who is the Manhattan prosecutor who was going against him, explained her refusal to drop Eric Adams' case in a letter to the Attorney General, who is Pam Bondi. Quote, she said, I remain baffled by the rushed and superficial process by which this decision was made. It gets a little worse because I know y'all was busy on Friday, you know, with this parade, but he was on Eric Adams and the Trump administration border czar, Tom Homan. They were on Fox and Friends. Now, I did not watch Fox and Friends live, but I did go back because I heard about it. Now, in this interview, it's very awkward. Homan is pretty much like giving off the impression, okay, what was implied, I have to make sure I say my words, it was implied that it was giving off the sense by many people analyzing this, was under the impression that it looked like there was a quid pro quo deal, that obviously the Trump administration freed Eric Adams, dropped those charges so that he can work alongside of them when it came to, you know, deporting undocumented individuals in New York City. And they're working with him and his city resources to really target undocumented individuals. And so I guess getting his support in that roundup, that may have been, I mean, he's supporting them. And this is, and mind you, Eric Adams has been, you know, kind of doing a little far distance bromance with the president. Very much like, hey, you know, what's up? You know, blah, 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 blah. You know, all this little friendly talk between Eric Adams and Trump. And before y'all start, like, we're not playing, I can't believe that he's a black man. Child, New York politicians are a different breed. So I don't really hold any New York politicians to high standards anymore. I mean, Letitia James, clearly. But, you know, I'm not playing these games with these politicians anymore. And it's a wrap for me. In New York. New York politicians is a very different breed. I'm talking about the local ones. But, you know, Eric Adams, I mean, I struggle because part of me is like, will he get reelected? Part of me feels like no. But my only concern is that there's a bunch of people running against him, I could see him maybe staying. I don't know. It's too hard to say because New York is swaying, even though, you know, they voted for Kamala. New York is getting more and more Trump-y. And I wonder if Republicans might come out and vote for Eric Adams, or conservatives might vote for Eric Adams because they know that he is, you know, in a race where there are also Democrats that might still be loyal to Eric Adams. There are some Democrats that are like moderates, or there are Democrats who just like Eric Adams' swagger, I suppose, that may still support their incumbent, you know, because a black mayor, there's never been first of all, he's the second black mayor ever elected to New York City after Charles Dinkins, but also he could potentially be the first ever second-term black mayor in New York City history. I mean, again, Dinkins was the only one before him, but only had one term. And New York is interesting because it's like, will New York give a black mayor a second term? I mean, this one doesn't deserve it. I feel like Dinkins should have had another chance, but Giuliani, which is another Trump character, was very ugly towards him and was very bitter about his race, and then turned around, did all this stuff to try to smudge that man's reputation, and then turned around and beat him this next go around. So, you know, I don't know. Will there be karma here? What will happen? I don't know. But Eric Adams, of course, he's shucking and jiving to stay in power. That doesn't surprise me at all. Of course, he's making these compromises. The man has no choice. He is trying to be a free man. And he looks young for his age. I mean, not that I think he's 64 years old. He'll be 65 in September, but he does not look it. I saw a recent picture of him. I was like, he's 65. But the devil was the most talented angel. I digress. I'll leave it there. In local politics, where do I begin? I'll start with Shapiro. I'll start a little heavy, a little light. Shapiro is suing the Trump administration over the spending freeze. We're talking potentially $30 billion being held up right now. Is this constitutional? Can the president really do this? Shapiro leadership, right, is stepping up to challenge that. He is taking the president on this. Now, speaking of a lack of leadership, I've been hearing whispers that city council elected officials in Philadelphia City Council, they don't really want to do any resolutions or speak on Trump because they're scared about how Trump might impact the city. And so if you're wondering why Mayor Cheryl Parker has not talked about sanctuary cities that much, why the mayor really does not really engage or really saying much about the Trump administration, that is by design. There is, what I've heard from people close to the mayor administration and city council, is that a lot of city council members, with the exception of, Rue Landau and Jimmy Gauthier and a couple other, Nicholas O'Rourke, of course, there are members of city council that feel like saying anything about Trump, addressing Trump, writing anything about Trump, in any type of, legislative stuff is going to blow back on Philly. I just want to give y'all a news flash. Trump does not like Philly. He didn't root for the Eagles. He's always trashed Philly. If you think not saying anything about him is going to actually cause him not to fuck with Philly, he still is. Like, we are a thorn to this man's side. We are a thorn to this man's side. He is not going to soften his hits at us. So I don't know who or what messaging team think that is. If the governor of Pennsylvania, who is not that far from Philly, is taking bold stances against Trump, whether for his own political motives or not, this city should be in alignment with that and supporting his moves on that and also speaking out. But whatever. Just want to give y'all that tidbit on why that is the way it is. But that brings me back to Philly. The Eagles parade. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to hold you. I am so happy we're done with the Eagles right now. They won their championship. Congratulations. Now can we just move on to bigger things? I saw the parade up on my 60th, my big old 54th floor tower, looking at the cloud. Look at the plebeians all, I'm being facetious, but looking at them all go out there, go Birds! Or how they say, how do white people say it? Go Birds! I don't know, but they say it a certain type of way that just irks me. I'm like, what are you doing? Go Birds! Go Birds! It's just weird. But like, it's a certain, I don't even sound right saying it, but like, there's a certain way they say it, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, there's like a subculture within the culture of sports fandom that is just like bizarre and weird. And Philly fans are obnoxious, and I don't have to get into all that. But like, there's like a subculture. Like, there's Black Eagles fans, and there's White Eagles fans. And then there's the White Eagles fans that have Black Eagles fans that are friends with Black Eagles fans that get a little weird. And there's so many things I want to say. I'm going to say this, though. That Saquon Barkley is going to be a problem. That's all I'm going to say. And it ain't got nothing to do with what he do on the field. Outside the field, I'm not crazy about Saquon Barkley in so many ways. That's what I'm saying. I feel like the more you see players or the more you watch players or listen to players, you begin to realize I don't want to know too much about these players. Like Jalen Hurts is just so, I mean, he's just such an upstanding guy. And I just feel like Jalen and Saquon are so like night and day in the way their personalities are that is cringy. Like, okay, Saquon went to Penn State. So let me just start off with that. He went to Penn State. Enough said, baby, right? Let's just start there. But that Penn State party guy thing, I'm going to do a read right now. And I don't mean, listen, take it how you want to take it. But I'm going to say some things, and some of y'all feathers might be rustled. But I will say this, a hit dog will holler. And if you're hollering, that means I'm talking about you. But I'm just going to say this. And this is Black History Month. And white people, my white listeners, this is one of those situations where you're listening, but we're not responding. We don't have an opinion because this is not an opinion for you to have. My black listeners, even my brown listeners that have this in their communities, y'all know what I'm about to talk about. We're going to talk about it, and we got to make a point. But I'm going to keep it 100. As a black person, I am always wary of that black dude that be at the parties as the only black man in the room. I'm just going to say that. Whether it's sports, whether it's the boardroom, there are black men, and I'm talking about black men. Black women, this ain't really like, it's a very different dynamic. I won't even get into the dynamics of black womanhood in white women's spaces. It's not the same. But black men that are oftentimes the only black person in white spaces, and that's they social. When I look at your pictures, and you are the only black man at the gathering, at the game, at the event, at the thing, and you're the grown-ass adult, because the kids are innocent. Because some of y'all black parents that put y'all kids in these private schools, and y'all like y'all kid be the only black kid, and they struggling with shit, and they getting anxiety and shit. Y'all got to stop doing that to your kids. I don't have any children, but on behalf of people like me that's a professor that teach your kids, and they have these awkward situations, they feel out of place in public groups that are diverse, stop doing that to y'all kids. Stop raising your kids to be white. And people say, what does that mean, raise your kids to be white? Meaning that you're isolating your kids from cultural, social spaces that have people that look like them. And that's not just for black kids. I see it happen with Asian kids. I see it with some Latinos. Not as much with Latinos as much, but I've seen this. You got to stop doing that because it creates really awkward, fucked up social cultural experiences. So I was watching some videos this weekend. Saquon was at a nightclub or some bar or something, and he's with a crowd, and the majority of that crowd was white, like very white, bro-ish type, frat brother type, go birds type white people. He was the only black person in his section. It was a bunch of white girls, a bunch of white dudes, and Dreams and Nightmares is on. And he's rapping the song. I think the N-word is all up in Meek Mill's mouth. And I could have swore I saw other white folks kind of vibing with it too. And I'm like, Saquon, why are you the only black person in your section rapping and saying the N-word and all these white girls? I would never. Let me tell y'all something. On my podcast, even though this is a Black as Fuck podcast, I don't say the N-word on my podcast. Now, let me be very clear. Do I say the N-word in my own personal space? You will never know. You will know if you're there. But I promise you, a white person cannot confirm or deny if I am or if I'm not. Because you're never going to hear me say the N-word on any rap song, any lyric, or anything around you. I don't play like that. And I think as black people, we got to gatekeep our culture a little bit. I'm not saying that Dreams and Nightmares is not a mainstream song that y'all like. But some of y'all getting a little too comfortable, white people. Y'all love sports. And then y'all get out here with these black folks in the sports game. Y'all want to sit around and do all that. Let me tell y'all something. I am not that Negro. I am not that black person. Don't do it with me. I'm not the black friend to do that. You got your little black homies that you watch the game and drink beer when y'all do all that. Don't do it with me. I'm not doing it with you. We're not doing that. And I'm telling you why. Because as a black person that grew up in Texas, okay? And Texas is a complicated ass state. Don't go with the whole conservative, red, nigga. I'm not even talking about like that. But I'm talking about as a black man who grew up in Houston specifically, where I seen it. Black men, athletes, college basketball players, football players, they date the white girls. They have all the white friends. They get integrated into these families. They're the only black person at the table. And everybody knows how to say Laquan's name because Laquan is the football player. Jashawn is the basketball player. They can say them names when we play in sports. Oh, every white person knows Saquon. Oh, y'all know how to pronounce Saquon. Oh, okay. But when y'all got these black kids in your classrooms and you're like, Saquon, what kind of name is that? But oh, y'all know Saquon's name now when he a football player. Oh, okay. Okay. And I'm just saying it because it needs to be said. Men like Saquon will have white folks showing up in other black spaces thinking that because they was around Saquon, they could do it. And y'all say, oh, Ernest, I am talking from experience. I will tell you, when I was at Penn, there were some black football players. Now, the black football players at Penn, for the most part, definitely were integrated. They hung out, but they did both. The black football players at Penn that I knew would go to the white frat parties. They would hook up with the white girls there, and they would be the only ones that would get into those parties. If my black ass tried to go to some of them parties, well, I was in some of them parties, got invited because I was in student government. But a lot of my black friends, I never really went because none of my other black friends could get into them. They would play with them at the door. They would discriminate. But the football players, the basketball players, they had the white girlfriends they would get in. Let's be honest about the tokenization of black men, okay? Let's not even try to act like fuck out of here. Let's be fucking honest because you all see it. We all see it. And we all know what the look looks like and what it feels like. They would let them black athletes in. They go up in there, do their thing, whatever. But what I would notice is that in certain situations and dynamics, when I would go to social events with other white folks that was in, I was in student government, I was in certain like clubs and organizations, and there'll be socials. They would get comfortable and say certain things, make certain references or whatever, because they felt like they had a cosign because their proximity to black athletes. And so there's always been a fetishization of black athletes and black bodies. And I just get the sense with Saquon specifically that is the case. He's a light-skinned, black-built guy, attractive. He's engaged to a white woman who was saying the N-word many years ago out loud on Twitter. Like, he knows this shit. He's not innocent to this. He knows it. But he plays the game. And y'all, and some of y'all may not know what that means, play the game. Black folks know what that means. Latino folks know what that means, playing the game. I have never played that game. I will never play that game. And some would argue that, oh, maybe that's why you haven't gotten certain things. If that's the case, fuck it, because I'd rather have my dignity. I will never play that game to get anywhere. And the white people that I'm friends with, that I'm cool with, will never expect me to play that game to do anything. Because the day that I'm expected to play that game is the day when that conversation is over. And don't think that I've never been put in positions where people wanted me to play that game. And I never did. Oh, listen, one day I will write the memoir. I'm too young to write it now. I'm still living life. There's still things that's happening. But don't worry. When I write that memoir, that tell-all book about my life and about this industry and about the shit there's stuff that you all will never know. I will listen. It's times where I tell little tidbits on Instagram or social media or Facebook because I just sometimes just can't keep it in. But my friends, my close friends, you all will be astonished and admire their strength and their support and just their presence in a lot of the craziest shit I've been through to make it. And I think for those who do know parts of those stories or those experiences, and even I do share some of it, you just will understand how much of a blessing it is for me to be alive, to be well, to be gainfully successful, entrepreneurial the way I am, to do this the way I do it like this, because I have had to say no to things that people would have thought would have been my dream. But the things that was asked of me, I'm just going to leave it there. I will just say that just never ask a person, specifically women, have you ever considered doing this? You should do this. Why you haven't done that? Because women specifically, like I'm gonna take myself out of it, but I just know women in women I've known. Even when I think about my own family, women in my family, people always assume that a person didn't take the call or the interview or the meeting. Why you don't have this? You should do this. You should do that. And they don't know that behind the scenes, you did. And with some bullshit at the front of the door. There was some mess that you couldn't confess. There was another curveball that you wasn't expecting to come your way. And there were heroes, or people you thought were heroes, that showed out to be complete villains. And women that I know in the industry, I know a couple women that you'll be like, why they not on TV anymore? Or why this person never went higher? Stop assuming that they didn't do everything they could have done. Because there are certain things, propositions. Like I think about one person in particular, and I'm not to spill her tea, but Maya. Y'all remember Maya? Oh my God, I love Maya. Maya's an incredible singer, and she's also a Libra, and I love Libras, clearly. Maya was talented. She won a Grammy. She was in Lady Marmalade, Case of the X. She was really hot. My Love Is Like, whoa. Like, Maya was a big deal. And you would look at her, she's gorgeous. Like, she's still gorgeous. I mean, she's beautiful. She's so talented. A real musician. And say, why did Maya never go farther than she could have went? That wasn't by choice. Okay? And we hear about other actresses in Hollywood. We think about Salma Hayek, right? The all the stuff that happened with Harvey Weinstein. We find out that Harvey Weinstein sacked certain people's careers. Like, that shit is real. I have been fortunate enough that the men and some women that have tried to blackball me or tried to blackball me in my career, that they got karma in that bit them in the ass, that removed them from my life and from the industry in ways that protected me. Like, I can't tell you how all of what I'm doing now, I'm just eternally grateful. Like, I have no complaints about my career. I have no regrets. I don't have moments where I'm just like, I shouldn't have did this. Oh, I should have. I don't. Because I'm in a space where I've been protected and there was this good people that really, was there for me. And I tell people, you want to have relationships and connections and just friends and people that's not work related, because it's good. And it's good to have those too. But it's just like, because you need to have that support system when you make those moves or you make these decisions. If you're operating by yourself, it gets a little harder, because then, you don't know who to trust. You don't know what to decide and everything. And that's not just for media. I know a lot of you all in your own careers might have had tough roles to decide and decisions to make. But I just tell people, be mindful. Don't compromise. And it's crazy because I didn't think that was going to come out of me dragging Saquon Barkley, but here we are. That's what makes Ernestly Speaking a great podcast, I suppose, right? Well, I know, right? I see that man, and I just have a level of just hoping that he just get it right. Because something about his surrounding, his environment, I worry for him. I worry for him a little bit. And I hope Jalen mentors him. Even though Jalen's younger than him. They're not, Saquon's older. He's 28. Jalen is, 26. He'll be 26. They Irish. Well, I think I can't say Irish twins, I guess, but they're like brothers in a way. I just hope that Jalen gives him a little bit of wisdom on how to. Because Jalen, y'all can call him boring, but I like a boring, attractive man. I'm married to one. He's not boring. He's just reserved. He'll say reserved. I'll say boring, but I don't mind. I like an attractive, boring man, to be honest. It can't be two firecrackers in the house, to be honest. I like a nice, good-looking man that's calm, resolved, and takes their energy and enthusiasm in the bedroom, but not in the public. I love that. I think that's probably what Jalen Hurts is giving. I think Jalen Hurts is giving very much, you know what? I don't need to do all the most, but that man is Omega man, okay? He's a cute dog. And anybody know what I mean by that? Okay, don't let it fool you. You could just tell. He quiet in public, but listen, when he's around, I know what it is. When he's around black people, they playing Atomic Dog. He is in that line doing the barks and doing everything else, and the real Jalen Hurts is coming out. But because he's a public figure, Jalen gonna keep it cute on the mic in public. But behind closed doors, Jalen, black people know. When I found out he was a Q, I said, oh, say less. Say less. I already know what it's giving, because I know some Qs, and that's how they are. Some of y'all favorite people in politics is Qs. Real publicly, real demure, real cutesy. Okay? Listen, Reverend Jesse Jackson is a Q. But we already know how he was cutting up behind the scenes, though. Now, Shaquille O'Neal's a Q, but, Stephen A. Smith, oh, God. Steve Harvey, But everybody can't be an alpha, bless their hearts. But no, the parade, overall the parade was, some people got shot. There were some fights. I saw that video of somebody with a baby fighting somebody with a baby in their hand. Like, come on, Philly. But for the most part, for a parade with 1 million plus people, it did, clear out. It did clear out for the most part. I will be fair. It did clear out. The other thing that I wanted to add too, outside of that, was Sherelle Parker's little speech, or long ass speech. I don't know who her team is, but can y'all just help her read the room a little bit better? I don't know. Her whole handling the Eagles thing has gone from disastrous to funny to inspirational to cringy to I just need the Eagles thing to just go. Also, I just saw it to me like the officials being groupies at the parade. I'm like, y'all are grouping out like y'all regular. I digress. All I'm saying was, I'm just happy we can move on to the business of the people and stop using the Eagles as a scapegoat. Handle y'all business in Philly, people. The end. So I had a couple of tea to give y'all about a couple of other things before I get to Ask Ernest. But Doordash and Uber Eats are fighting. Okay. Uber Eats is suing Doordash, accusing them of engaging in quote-unquote coercive tactics by threatening to charge higher commission rates for restaurants that also work with Uber Eats delivery service. Doordash threw shade and said that the claims are unfounded. But to be clear, Doordash currently makes up 63% of the country's delivery market, and Uber only has about 25% of it. Now, I will tell y'all personally, I use Uber Eats more. I used to try to do DoorDash, but I think the DoorDash relationship with Caviar has kind of turned me off from it a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you. The Caviar DoorDash relationship has not hit the way that I thought it was gonna hit, and I'm not as enthusiastic about it personally. Just wanted to say that, because I know some of y'all was like, well, what do you, I don't know. I'm a little mixy on it. But overall, I don't really think I think Uber Eats is just giving better deals right now. I know a lot of y'all get upset about delivery and food and stuff. Y'all say the prices are high, yada, yada. But y'all are not using Uber Eats properly. Let me just, no shade. Some of y'all who complain about Uber Eats, let me tell y'all something. Are y'all going and looking at the meal deals? Are y'all looking at the actual deals? Because I use Uber Eats for the deals, for the most part. Now, Angelo's cheesesteaks, okay, that was special. But like, when I go on Uber Eats, I look at specific meal deals. Like, for example, do you know that you can go to Shake Shack and get a buy one burger, get one free burger right now on Uber Eats for Shake Shack? Now, I don't eat Shake Shack, but they have that. Mr. Johnson likes Shake Shack, child. He got it. I said, well, you're going to have those two burgers to yourself because I don't want a Shake Shack burger, so I didn't eat it. But they have a 2-for-1 there. They have all kind of crazy deals. Matter of fact, while I'm talking to you all, I'm going to tell you what they have. So I'm going to guide you. Now, if you have Uber Eats, the Uber Eats app, right, which you can get from the Uber app, you can get to Uber Eats there. But there is on the tabs, Home, Offers, Explore, Orders, Account. Click on Offers. Offers will show you the deals that they have currently. Right now, for McDonald's, they will have, the deal that they have is, whatever Uber One deal that basically will give you a free Big Mac meal with a $20 purchase if you have Uber One. That's their special deal, but you have to have Uber One to do that. But let's look at some other deals. Popeyes, okay? Popeyes have a deal right now where if you get the classic chicken sandwich, if you get the classic chicken sandwich or the spicy chicken sandwich or the ghost pepper chicken sandwich, it is only $4 right now. Only $4 compared to $6.79. It's only $4. That's a good deal. Other popular ones, Wendy's. If you want Wendy's right now, Wendy's have a buy one, get one free. If you buy a 10-piece crispy nuggets, if you buy one, you'll get one free. So if you wanted some crispy nuggets right now, you and your boo can get one for free. Buy one, get one free. Okay? That's Wendy's. Let me look at some other ones. So there are some other deals, but they're like local restaurants that may not be in your area. Let me give you another one. Papa John's. You buy a create your own pizza. If you buy one create your own pizza, you get another one for free. Look at that. Look, if y'all have after school meeting, you want to buy one, get one free. It's there. Taco Bell. Taco Bell got a buy one steak cheesy dipping burrito, get another one for free. If you buy a Cinnabon Delights 2-pack, you get another one for free as well. And that is Taco Bell. And Burger King. Let's look at Burger King. If you spend $15 on Burger King, you get an 8-piece chicken nuggets for free. Uber Eats should pay me for this. Maybe they are. But I say all this to say that there are a bunch of deals. And those are deals from main brands. There are local deals with restaurants nearby you in your location. Like, for example, Checkers. If you spend $25 on Checkers, you will get an $8 refund. Okay? I'm just saying. Dunkin' Donuts. If you spend $15 at Dunkin' Donuts, they will take $5 off. I'm just saying. The deals are here, baby. And they got all kind of deals. It's not just fast food. Like, I'm looking at, like, Dialock. Like, I love Dialock in West Philly. I'm in West Philly. Dialock has a deal where if you spend $15, you get sweet potato fries for free. If you decide to buy a tomato salad, you buy one of those, you get one free. And on any purchase that you spend $40 or more, you get $3 off in addition to those other discounts I just named. So, I'm just, hell, even 7-Eleven got a deal right now. 7-Eleven got crazy deals right now. You could order Uber Eats. You can get 7-Eleven on Uber Eats right now, and they got crazy deals. So, I'm just the messenger. I just want y'all to be great. And you could also use your loyalty points on there. So, I'm just putting it out there. Now, speaking of other things that's pissing me, that didn't piss me off, but I'm just saying Uber Eats over Doordash every day. And I hope they win a lawsuit, because I do feel like Doordash is doing some shit, in my opinion. But back to the news. So, remember, that's your business. My name is Tabitha Brown. Put a little tomato and a little bagel, because that's your business. And a little bit of everyday bagel. You remember her? The one who plays that game? Well, Tabitha Brown, the one who told people, we consider boycotting Target because it's going to hurt small businesses and, people going to lose money and they trying to survive. Remember her whole argument that basically trying to tell black customers at Target, because fuck Target, because they don't give a fuck about DEI. So we're like, cancel Target. I don't support Target. No, I'm not buying from Target. It is what it is, right? And I already don't shop at Walmart and Harley Davidson. I can't even drive a car. I'm not riding a motorcycle. Like all these companies that are slashing DEI. And yes, I know my alma mater Penn is doing some weird shit right now with the DEI stuff. But in their defense, I will say this. The Trump administration is threatening them with an investigation, all these investigation probes. They're really going hard at Penn. And I really feel like Trump's administration is doing this because, Trump is a Penn alum and Elon is too. And both the university does not really honor Trump or Elon. They don't give them honorary degrees. They don't give them no props. They don't really celebrate them in the way that they would have celebrated other people, like John Huntsman, who previously ran for president, like Denzel Washington's son, like Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden didn't go, but his daughter did, right? Or his granddaughter Naomi did, right? They went up for Biden. I mean, they gave us a Biden Center and all this other stuff, right? They didn't do any of that for Trump. Like, there's no Trump buildings or Trump academies or any pictures. They don't really recognize Trump. And even when he first won, they didn't do that. So I feel like he's being petty. He's fucking with his alma mater because they don't go up for him. And so I think Penn is just basically scrubbing all this stuff out because they're just really trying to, follow through and not lose federal funding. Because here's the thing, if they lose federal funding, they lose any serious money, like Penn could really, get in some serious shit. So they're being bullied into doing it. But companies like Target and these other companies, like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, I thought y'all was the bosses of y'all companies. Like, your stock, like, what are you doing? Like, your clientele and your bases, they're like, first of all, listen, some people said the companies jumped the ship early because they knew what Trump was going to do. My thing is, unless you're in an investigation like Penn and you're like being threatened, I can see why they doing what they're doing. But no one told Target you had to cut DEI. Like, none of these companies had to actually cut DEI the way they do. I talked to one of my good friends, Lauren, who has this incredible podcast called Respite for Sisters. That's RESPITE. Yes, I can spell. Shout out to the mayor. For Sisters. And it's a great podcast. And she talks about DEI and experiences of Black women in workplaces and professional life and personal life. It's a very good podcast. And if you're a Black woman, I encourage you to listen to it. But me and her talk about DEI all the time because she's like a DEI expert. She's had DEI positions. She's worked in diversity, equity, and inclusion for years. She was doing it before it was like the thing. My girl know her shit. And we're also Penn alums. She got her master's in organizational dynamics. And she knows her shit. And one of the things that we always talk about is like how these companies that have been doing this DEI stuff, setbacks, you gotta remember, Trump has not come for them. There's been no mandates. So my mindset is you should hold that line until they literally threaten you. And then we can say, oh, okay, we see what they doing. Okay, baby, we get it. But the fact that they decided to scale this shit back before that, and let's also be clear, Target was acting weird way before Trump, right? Before this shit, because they were pushing the queer items in the back after a couple of those loony boon mega people was going, talking about, first of all, talking about, oh, this is grooming. These LGBTQ shirts, this is grooming people. Like, what are y'all talking about? Be you, be proud, be happy? Like, how the fuck is that grooming? Anyway, they was doing it, and Target started hiding their pride stuff and shit. I'm just like, y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. So I knew that eventually it was going to come our way. But anywho, I digress. While Tabitha has been running around acting like she is struggling, Tabitha got a brand new position for some organization, some small business marketing group or whatever. She got a new paid title gig. She's got children books she's promoting. She's got NAACP award nominations. She just launched this weekend a new fragrance with her husband. They got some brand new fragrance they've launched. And I'm just like, so broke where? Broke how? Struggling small Black business? Where? Like, capitalists are just going to capitalist. And it's so unfortunate because I think a lot of people are starting to really, like, have an icky sense about Tabitha. There are some, listen, she still got some diehard fans. But I'm starting to really read her as disingenuous. I don't know. I'm not really, look, I knew she was never a revolutionary. I don't think she's any of that. But I just kind of find her a little weird now. And I've always found her weird. I've been thinking this for a while. I like the thought of Tabitha. I loved her rise. But you realize certain people get to a certain level and their thinking becomes tone deaf, and you're just like, where have you been? Like, is this really your thinking? But they're also like, again, gross capitalists, because it's like they'll weaponize like, oh, this is God who has a blessing on me. And they try to attribute all their wealth and quote unquote prosperity and their money connected to being blessed and highly favored by God. It's very cringy. And it's like, in this day and age, nah. And they just don't have a thinking. Like everything, they try to play like everything is just so, I don't know. This is just disingenuous for me, child. I cannot. But, she said a new fragrance. So I guess, there's more things to buy from Tabitha just in case, the coloring books and the aprons were not enough. But I digress. But speaking of capitalists and speaking about crazy white people and their shit, there is a scandal in white rich people fantasy. Now, when I'm not too busy like looking at the crazy things that happen in the world around me, I do take time to see what are crazy white people doing with their wealth and their money. And so the Murdochs are fighting. Okay? Yes, those Murdochs. The Murdochs that own Fox News. Yeah, those Murdochs, they're fighting. The girls are fighting, and it's giving secession. There's a courtroom battle that's been going on with them. The New York Times reported, New York Magazine specifically, found 3,000 pages of trial records that they obtained, revealing a lot of quote unquote bitterness and betrayal that not even the writers of Succession could conjure. There's a lot going there between them. That family is fighting. They are bumping heads. There's a lot of tension going on. And so for people who may not know what's happening, because this has been very low-key out the media, Rupert Murdoch and his family, they got the conservative media on lock. So if you don't know who the Murdochs are, which is, look, they're rich. They control the conservative media around the world. And for the past year, they've been in a secret battle, legal battle, over who's going to control it. And so Rupert has an older son named Lachlan, who has tried to take full control of the company, but his siblings have blocked the move. So the New York Times had obtained this trial record of what's been going on, like more than 3,000 pages, y'all. And they read through it and got into it, and they read the transcripts. And some of the biggest things that have come out from this is that it's a conservative empire, for sure. And it's very obvious that in many ways, Rupert Murdoch, who has owned this for years, he's 93 years old. It's obvious that he has wanted to shift the English-speaking world to be right, to be conservative. And he wants his son, Lachlan, who is very conservative, to take full control. And he really wanted that more than selling it. He wanted his son to take control because he wants to move the world, especially the English-speaking world, to be conservative. So that's Great Britain, that is, that's the UK, the United Kingdom, that's America. Like, that's his passion. Now, here's the mess, though, and this is the fight between the siblings. Lachlan was convinced that his three oldest siblings, which was led by James, were plotting to overthrow him when his father died. Now, there is a woman, Elizabeth, which some of y'all like, okay, which character is which from Succession? It doesn't really work there. Like, people like, is it Sarah Snook's character, Sharoy, Saboy? I don't know, but Elizabeth was seen as the family Switzerland. And she had basically said that she felt violated and forsaken by her family for her father's plan to change the trust, because he was trying to change the trust to go to Lachlan, who is the more conservative one, and basically argued that Lachlan, like Rupert's oldest child, Prudence, that's the oldest son, accused Lachlan of treating her and Elizabeth like assistants. And James' representative, which James is the other sibling, he's more liberal. They tried, a friend apparently compared this situation to the disenfranchisement of black voters in the Jim Crow South. Now, that might be an overreach, to be honest. That might be some shit. Rupert Murdoch is 93 years old. He's still sharp. He's not like on age decline like the way people look at Biden. And so he's been showing up to these trials, being able to testify. The judge did not rule in favor of the trust situation, so it's still stuck with the family, with the siblings. But there might be some other drama, whether it's going to go to the more conservative Lachlan or the more liberal James, right? The problem is with the families, they may lose control altogether in the next couple of years because Rupert, the father, right? This is the Roy Cohn. Is this Roy Cohn? No, this is. I think I think it is Roy Cohn. Yeah, I think. Well, not Roy Cohn. I'm thinking about the Succession cast, but like, when you think about like all the players that was involved in that, like thinking about the people who were connected to that show, Rupert Murdoch is more like the Brian Cox. He is the Logan Roy of it all. Kendall Roy is Jeremy Strong. I don't necessarily know if he would be the James, but maybe, right? Kieran Culkin, Roman Roy would probably be. He would probably be. Kieran Culkin would probably be Lachlan. And then Prudence would probably be Matthew McFadden. I don't know. Sarah Snook, her character, Shiv, I mean. Yeah, I keep pronouncing her name wrong. But Shiv, I think Shiv would easily be Elizabeth in this situation. She seems that way. Um, but it's a mixed bag. It's hard to tell. Honestly, to be real with you, maybe Connor would be James, and then I would say Kieran Culkin would be Lachlan, and then Shiv would be Elizabeth, and then of course Rupert would be Logan. So that if we were to say the character personality, that would probably be about right. So the issue is that um the big problem is that the Murdoch family might lose control altogether because in 2006, the father had created a trust that holds the voting shares for Fox Corporation News Corp, according to New York Times. But the trust expires in 2030, at which point the beneficiaries can sell their shares as they please, which means billions of dollars, that realizing billions of dollars, but releasing their hold on the business that, the father has built for more than 70 years, which is a long ass time. Now, the other predicament with Lachlan is that he has to figure out specifically with the money how much he's willing to pay for his sibling's share of the trust. Because without those shares, he could lose control of the companies. He needs his other siblings to give him an over, but he's never been willing to offer more than 60% of the market value of their shares, which is why he's screwed right now. So there's a lot going on. And also, because there is a Succession connection, um, everybody knows Succession was inspired by the Murdoch family, even though it was not exactly the same. But apparently, Elizabeth watched the episode in which um, Logan Roy, the father, dies unexpectedly, which sent the family into chaos. The Roy family in specifically. Um, that created panic, and apparently she had watched the episode and was very upset about the episode. And then there was a memo that was sent to the siblings, the actual Murdoch siblings, called the Succession Memo, which was intended to prevent a real life repeat of that show, encourage him to consider a variety of difficult questions, whether it was possible to move Fox News to the center after, Rupert's death, like all these different things that consider if the father suddenly died, what would happen. So it's a lot of politics going on. Um, it's been a lot of power. Um, yeah, there's a lot there. So, so we'll see how that plays out. We'll be keeping an eye out on Rich People Alert. Now moving on. This week's Ask Ernest. You all want to know my thoughts about monogamy. Over the past, what has been 4 years I've been doing this podcast, 8 seasons now. The conversation on monogamy comes up throughout time, and it's almost like a case study to see has my thinking around this have evolved, this and a third. Well, you all, you all, I saw the interview with Kofi Sarobi, that adorable, hot actor who was in Queen Sugar. He's Ghanaian, he's chocolate, and he's lovely. He's a great actor. Um, Young, it's like it seems like all the young, like look, we're all getting there. So he is a model as well. He's 30 years old. He turns 31 on March 2nd, so he's about to be 31 very soon. And he's been in some movies. He's been in Queen Sugar. He was in Girls Trip as a sex symbol in Girls Trip. Um, he's made some cameos elsewhere. He was recently on the show Harlem, which I never got into. It's got canceled out this third season. They just finished the show, but he plays a character on the show that is a baseball player that's really accomplished. But the dilemma with him in another castmate on the show is that he wants to be an ethical polyamorous relationship. Well, this makes the actress on the show kind of not be interested in him. She likes him. You know, his character is named Quinn. Well, the character's not, his name is not Quinn. His character's name is Quinn. And he has a situationship and she wants something more, but he is struggling with it, right? So he did an interview and said in real life that he's actually an ethical non-monogamist. That's how he describes it. He doesn't call himself a polygamist, but he describes himself as an ethical non-monogamist. And basically, this is a person who refers to, I guess they call it abbreviation ENM, refers to open communication and consensuality between all romantic and sexual partners that a couple has as opposed to committing infidelity. So in the interview, he said, quote, I started working every day. Then there's the frame element and the abundance of people and exposure. I've just had different shifts and different seasons where it feels like sometimes monogamy feels like role playing. And it sometimes feels restrictive. So there's an element of it that feels performative, and I understand the tradition of it. But then there's a part of me that just had questions. And he goes on to say, so I went through some phases where I'm like, well, why? Why do we do it like this? And how is this how I want to do it? And he said, in observing people play those roles, like he mentions his parents, he noticed some blind spots. But he says he still respects monogamy, but says, quote, I honor the tradition and I love the simplicity of monogamy and how we can still remain whole and still remain true to ourselves as individuals, as independent thinkers living this life. But yeah. So in the show, he plays the character Seth, who's very aggressive and 10 toes down about what he wants. He dates Quinn, which is the actress that also played Kiki, Kitty, and Kitty, and that's not her real name, but the character Kitty, Miss Kitty Boo or whatever, in Empire, who was married in real life to her last name is Byers. She was married to the one of the brothers in Empire, and she's married to him in real life, which is interesting. So Trey Byers was Andre Lyons on the show. He's the only Lyon brother who wasn't a mess in real life. Jussie Smollett turned out to be a mess. Brashear Gray, we're not even going to talk about what he's been doing lately. But Grace Byers, whose real name on the show was Anika, but they call her Kitty. That was what Taraji called her. Trey and Grace are married in real life. Like Trey Byers, who played Andre Lyons in Empire, he's married to Quinn in Harlem in real life. They're married in real life. So she's clearly in a monogamous relationship in real life, but her character plays that, and I just find it so interesting. It's a lot. Yeah. Right. It's just I just so anyway. You always ask me what my thoughts about it were, what he said, how I feel about it, yada yada. As a married person, does he make some points? Here's what I got. I got so many thoughts to say about it. For starters, Kofi is 30, y'all. His early 30s. He's young. He's hot. He's in Hollywood. When I was really reading his interview and how he was talking about it, I'm like, this dude is in a situation right now where I just feel like he wants to fuck everything. Okay, let me not be shady. I don't want to say he wants to fuck everything. I think he's in a place where he wants love and those things, right? But he also doesn't want to feel. He doesn't want. He wants to. He wants to sow his royal oaks, and he does. But at the same time, he wants to find a way to have his. See, I don't want to be disrespectful and shady to people that are in, but I'm going to, I don't know no other way to say it. If he going to say that it feels like role, bitch, I ain't role playing. Okay, let me calm down. Okay, I'm just going to say I'm going to speak bluntly since he want to speak bluntly about his perspective. He want to say he feels like people are playing roles in monogamous relationship. Okay, well, I just feel like he want to have his cake and his ice cream too. But he wants to do it within the confines where he's being transparent about it, not quote unquote cheating. Um, okay. Cute. Cute. But here's my thoughts about it. I think that I was reading lately that there was an article I read in Atlantic that was talking about how the one percenters, the really affluent people, the ruling class, has had an infatuation with polyamorous relationships lately. Even though they are the ones, rich people, really rich people, are the ones who benefit the most from, the benefits of marriage financially. They benefit the most from marriage. Yet, even though they benefit the most financially through marriage, they're also the ones who have the most, thoughts about certain things, right? So he was just talking about like how I guess I don't know if he was about monogamy or something, but he was just talking about all this other relationships and dating and this, that, and the third. And my whole take on it has been, in my opinion, okay, in my opinion, I think that rich people have access to power, right? They can see things as being more disposable, or they could commodify things. I think the richer some people get, the more powerful some people get, the more they feel like things can be transactional, things can be, increased, things can be, given to them because their view on life and their experiences are very much there. So like a celebrity every day has people throwing their drawers at them or pennies at them or whatever. And for those who are younger, right, who haven't really, really explored intimacy, right, romance, like true love, or what that looks like, or ever really given monogamy a real chance, could many ways feel like monogamy can be limited for them because they feel like they want to go out and fuck all these different things moving and walking. And again, I'm saying this is not everybody's situation. I know people that are in ethical, non-monogamous relationships. Okay, so I'm not speaking for everybody. But I'm just addressing Kofi because Kofi wanted to make these assumptions about monogamous relationships being role playing and all that bullshit. I'm just speaking like on some casual observances around the ruling class and how they partake in it, right? So there is that, right? And I think in these very cis-het relationships, because in queer spaces, let me be very clear. Ethical non-monogamy, open relationships in queer spaces have been a thing since the beginning of time. Queer people, the way in which they look at relationships, sex, sexuality, all the things, we have been so ahead of the straights on this topic for a long time, to the point that we are not shook by any of this shit. We like, oh, they're just doing whatever. But those conversations are explored based on just the freeness of it all, the way the conventions of marriage and relationships. Like these shackles have not been on the queer community's feet because we think about this very differently. Okay. So the queer people the relationships I know that are ethical and non-monogamous are often queer relationships that I know of. Now, I am in a queer relationship. My relationship is monogamous, baby. You're never gonna get neither one. Okay. You can look, but you can't touch and you can't speak. Okay. Don't tell me you want to fuck me. It ain't happening. And if you do, you're getting blocked. I've had to block some people. They get a little too much in them DMs. I'm like, blocked. Not responding to that, block. Because people out here, you know, people get a little too. Some folks be, I just see. I see too much in the era of screenshots and shit. A person can say you look good. If you say thank you, he told me thank you. They just make a thing out of everything. Some people do. So I just tell people, you just like, I am just so, I can't, I don't even look. I'd be like, what? Me? Oh. I don't even respond. I mean, unless it's a woman. Like women, I don't care. Women can love me all day. But in older, like mentory gay men, it's like, oh, you look cute. Thank you, mentor. Thank you, elder. But like anybody else that get a little spicy or get a little too much, I'm like, unfollow. Not responding to that. Because sometimes there was this one time where, this is a couple of years ago, this is one guy who was, well, let me get this together. Okay, publicly he was straight, but I think privately he was maybe a little different. So he was liking my pictures on Instagram, like a lot of pictures. But I noticed that he was only liking individual photos of me. He didn't like pictures with me with my man. He did not like, my, graphics. Like when how I put like screenshots of my tweets or something. Like he didn't like any of that kind of stuff. It was only like individual pictures of me, which is very few in between. And pictures of my nails. Like my nail pictures and selfie pictures of me. That's all he was liking. And like consistent rotation. So I was like, I noticed it because I had the notifications booming. I was like, ooh, who's this? What's going on? So before I can even look at the profile and see who this was or what it was giving, I get a DM that said, hey, cutie. And then I looked at his page, and I want to say maybe 4 days ago, he was in a picture with a girl that was his girlfriend, and he was like, the love of my life, I think it was her birthday or something. And I was like, blocked. And I will not tell you who he is. He's somebody in these streets. He's somebody of, I guess, some level of prominence in Philly. But I had to block him because I was like, I don't out people anymore. Let me stop. But listen. I just say that I just didn't want no parts of it. I'm a spoken for. I'm a married. Why even do that to me? You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, no. But what I heard, because it also happened to me another time, but it was not as aggressive. But there was somebody who assumed that because Barry and I, my husband and I, were, openly gay and young, they assumed, because we were a gay couple, that we were like swingers or something. Like they just assumed that we were just an open relationship or some shit. And asked some very protruding questions. And I was like, why would you assume this? But they stereotyped. They just, I guess y'all think we all just some, you know what I'm getting at. But there's a lot of stereotypes that come. And even just ideals. Like, oh, if you're young and you're queer, of course you're doing, no, there are a lot of couples that are also monogamous as well. But I say all this to say that I think, in my mind, that when I hear people like Kofi, that is as young as he is, that has not had a serious long-term relationship or anything like that, that's a celebrity, that's attractive, that have all these people at him, I just think this is just a man that just simply wants to have fun and doesn't want to be in a serious relationship. That's cool. But to me, it gets like, labeling yourself this early at your age, like you're 30. Labeling yourself and like ruling out what you'll be and what you'll do or whatever. In that regard, I just feel like is a little bit too narrow, Like as somebody who's been in a relationship for over a decade, I pretty much know myself. I'm aware of myself at this point to know I would not be in a polyamorous relationship or open relationship or whatever. And I think this is why, for me, I'm speaking for myself. And I'm going to be real vulnerable and a little too open. But sometimes that's what makes a good podcast work. So here's what I know about myself. and I knew about myself when I was, even before I was in this relationship. I don't fuck, I make love. I don't know how to have sex with someone without being emotionally connected. I love to make love. I love the comfort of being in the arms of someone who I know likes me, not just sexually, but emotionally, like really like me as a person. Like, it turns me on when somebody that I'm with gets me and really likes me for who I am. And what they call it, demisexuals. Well, I'm sexual, I guess, but like, I just want, there's a security and emotional commitment and capacity that I just have. I got to. Because when I was single, yeah, I was mingling, but it did get to a point where I did feel personally that, I don't know, I just felt like, I don't know, sex just did not feel the same when it wasn't with somebody who I really felt was really, like, really into me. Like, just physical attraction alone, I don't know. That just, okay, it's cute for a moment. Like, I thought myself, like, if I go to a party or a dance, like back in the day, okay, cute boy, get number, dance on him, whatever. But like, maybe that night, if I was really like just super horny, a little hookup, maybe back then. But I just couldn't imagine being consistently sleeping with somebody that I just did not have that connection with like that. I don't know. That's just me. I'm a little different. Maybe I am. Maybe there's other people that can relate. I don't know. That was just me, right? So then when I think about like open relationships, I don't have the time emotionally or mentally to imagine. I couldn't even imagine myself just having the ability to give or have another connection with another person like Mr. Johnson. Like, I couldn't imagine having the mental, emotional capacity and time to have that with another person. I just couldn't imagine that. Like, I just couldn't imagine doing it twice. Like, he's enough for me. Like, I just couldn't imagine another person entering a situation and just having that connection. And I think for some people who are in open relationships, they might say, you know what, you're the one I want to be with emotionally, not love. These other people, it's just sex. But for me, I guess maybe sex just means more to me. Like, sex is just more intimate and more, I don't want to, for me, sacred. It just feels more of a, I don't know. I don't want to judge people. I'm not judging folks. Let me be very clear. Everybody views their own sexual experiences differently. This is how I'm viewing. I'm talking for myself. Because this man said people like me play roles. Baby, I'm not playing a role. The only role I play is no, okay. I'm joking. I just okay, I'm doing too much. But still, I just feel like, for me, it is just that. I feel like when I was much younger, like in my early 20s, right? Early teens, like 19, 18 or whatever. Like, I was exploring myself, my body, my emotions, sex and everything. And I hooked up. I had a good time. Like, I wasn't out here like without, trust and believe that. But I think through those experiences, I realized that emotionally, the things that the experiences I remember the most, the ones that I cherish, the things that I liked, was with people that I felt I had a bigger bond and connection with that was beyond sex. And I feel like I don't have the emotional capacity to give another person that level. If somebody else knows how to do that and can do that and can juggle that, by all means, kudos to you. Just for my own mental, my own body, I don't have that in me to do for two people. I can only just do it for that man. That's all I have. That's all the time I have. I couldn't even fathom the thought. And also, I'm not restricting myself. Like, you could be attracted to people. You can see, like, this is the thing. Being in a relationship, a monogamous relationship, doesn't mean that you can't find other people attractive. But it never like for me, I can look at a person and be like, oh, that person's cute. Like even being gay, like I find women attractive. Like, I mean, I'm not sexually attracted to them, but I'm not blind. I could be like, yo, she's hot. That's a nice looking woman. Do I want to go up and get a number? Do I want to, have sex? No, but she look good. You can do that. I know a good looking man. I can know a good looking man without being like, oh, I think he cute. I want to go. No, Usher look good. Jalen Hurts is fine. But like, I don't want to, mess with them or throw my shot or nothing. Like, I just think two things can be true. And I think sometimes folks conflate things. Attraction to a person or find a person attractive aesthetically. Because I don't know these men. And that's the other thing too. I always be wondering to myself, like when people talk about people attractive or whatever, I'm like, do you know the person? Like, do you know the person enough to want to, what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel all of those things? I don't know. I don't know. I guess, like I can look at a person and be like, oh, that person cute, but I just never feel the drive to pursue. I just feel like that just takes a lot of work. And if you already got somebody that's already giving you the things, does this other person matter? I don't know. But also, what I would add is maybe folks that are open to open relationships in certain circumstances that are cishet might have voids in their current relationship that's not being fulfilled. I would just say that all of the voids, I have no voids. My needs are being fulfilled emotionally, socially, spiritually, sexually. I don't need more. I just feel like I feel like my I have intellectually, financially, I just feel like I'm good. I don't feel no restrictions here. I guess, maybe when you play the role as husband, it's not performative, Kofi. Maybe you're looking for a role to play. And you haven't found that role yet. Look, my students say clock that T. I'm just saying that I feel like when I hear some folks that are in, open relationships and polyamorous relationships, they talk from a space of like needing freedom and liberation. And I'm just like, well, maybe that's because you're not dating the person that you want to date. Maybe the person that you need 3, 4, 5 people because you can't, the one person you're with is not the soulmate or not the person fulfilling the needs. Some of us got, 4D, 3D, full dimensional men. We got people that got dick, dollars, and diamonds. We got 3D men. We got people that is hitting all the cylinders. We got people that's doing the things that need to be done that makes us go, you cute, but you ain't him though. Like I just never felt challenged. Like I've never felt triggered or put in a position. Like I don't have no doubts in my abilities. I don't see Mr. Johnson want to go anywhere else. I mean, look at me. Look at what's giving. And I'm not talking about aesthetic looks, but like what you bring to a table in a relationship to fulfill that. And even with the other way around, like I don't want anyone else. I just am good. Like I'm in love with who I'm with. And I think what I see in some people that either want to have an open relationship or don't want to be in a relationship, whatever, is are you asking yourself, is the person you with fulfilling the things you want them to fulfill? Now, if y'all came into a relationship with understanding and agreement and it was a vibe or whatever, then by all means do your thing. Because I know people that got it, they just who they are. And that's an exemption, right? But certain folks that go into these relationships and change the rules up and change shit up or whatever, and people feel like they got to compromise what they want to do. Like, you got to remember that open relationships have to be between both consensual partners. Both people got to want to participate. You can't just simply be like, listen, there's a lot of people out here that are married, that are in open relationships that their spouses don't know they're in. which means it's not really open relationship. There are men that be telling girls, oh yeah, I got a wife, but I'm cool with it. That's, we open. And the wife don't have no fucking clue. Listen, let me be quiet. This ain't that episode. But there's some people out here that be telling people that they got a situation that is not really their situation. And it creates problems. There was a man who I'm not gonna name that is elected official. See, now I'm talking too much, but fuck it. There's another man I know that's a lobbyist. See, I'm talking too much, but whatever. But these dudes be out here, both of them. And I'm not naming names, and don't you ask me who it is. Don't ask me nothing. But both of these men be out here in these girls' DMs, hollering at them, talking to them. They done got in one of them got in one of the DMs on my good old homegirl. One of my good homegirls. And she listens to this podcast, and it's not Dr. Parks, mind your biz. Don't even know. It's none of them girls. This one is single. But she listens to my podcast religiously. So she know what I'm talking about. And it ain't no tea that's too hot. But this individual got in her DMs, wanted to holler at her. And she was like, yo, aren't you married? Like, she just was like, bro, you married. You got a wife. And he was like, oh, we got to understand it. Baby. She like, well, we ain't got one, though. So she dropped it there. But, baby, these men be out here be lying. Mind you, another universe, this woman, the wife, was in another space. And through conversation, I find out just, they ain't a monogamous relationship according to her. Her husband, they good. They ain't got no crazy business going on. In them kind of situations, you gotta shut up and mind your business. See, y'all don't think I mind my business. I was just like, I was quiet. But I say all this to say, well, let me say this last thing. This is a petty point. Y'all, I'm an economist. My mindset is, and I told this to Mr. Johnson, we joked about this the other day. I said, let me tell you something. An open relationship means there better be an open contribution to these bills. If you and I are going to be together and you and I are paying taxes, you putting these hoes on as a dependence? Look, if I got a zaddy somewhere, is zaddy going to put some money on these bills? I just think it's funny how people begin these open relationships and they committed to marriages, but they go out and fuck other people and that person get the best of them. That's the other thing too. Is the person you married to in your open relationship getting the best? Is that spouse are they getting the best of your spouse? Are they getting the best of your spouse? Are they getting the spouse, the argument that may have happened and may have not happened when you may have lost your husband's blue shoes, your suede wedding shoes? Are they getting that argument? Are they getting that, are they getting all the things? Because I would be pissed. Like, even if I thought about it, I'd be pissed to think that my man had an open relationship, was dating somebody else or having someone aside. But I'm like, you getting the best of that person. They getting the best of you, I mean. Because see, when you come home tired from work or you don't want to be bothered with, they ain't getting all that. I got to put up with all the things. I got to do all of it. But this person, they're not getting all that. They getting all, they getting all the amenities. I couldn't. So maybe that's part of my reason. I'm like, I don't want to share, especially if ain't nobody sharing these bills. So, if you could claim side hoes or side johns or extramarital partners or additional partners on the taxes or the health insurance benefits, maybe there could be a different conversation. No, I'm joking. But I'm just saying, But long story short, I digress. But long story short, I do think people need to, I just think there needs to be more introspection. If people are going to talk about monogamy and critique it, I guess the biggest opponents of monogamy, I would like to know more about what is lacking or what's voids is happening in relationships you're in. What is your relationship to intimacy, sex, people? What's happening in those connections that make you feel like one person, being with one person and whatever is a problem. I'm more curious about what is the set of mind thinking in it. Like, are you afraid to fully commit to one person? Are you afraid? Or is there trust factors? Is there a fear of emotional connection? Like, I just wonder if there's other things that shape in that perspective. Because when I hear most people, and I say most, and I'm really talking about straight people, because the cishet patriarchy got men fucked up. When I hear straight people talk about this stuff, it always seems like it's coming from a place of dissatisfaction in their relationship, and they think that adding or expanding is going to heal those things. It's not. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it will. Unless you come into the relationship with an understanding up the jump, up the front, understand like y'all both are just who y'all are, that's different. But again, if you're somebody that just want to change it up and switch it up or put people in these obligations, no. I'll just leave that there. Now to movies. I think we might, y'all know I've been following the Oscars, forecast this season. Like, I need March 2nd to hurry up. I need SAG to hurry up next week. The SAG Awards, the Screen Actors Guild Awards is coming. We don't really know what these frontrunners are. It's getting really complicated, right? The Oscars and an award. So BAFTA is like the British Academy Awards. They predict, sometimes they can be forecasters for Oscars, okay? I thought they shocked me. The BAFTA Awards gagged me. Now, let me tell you some categories where I was a little gagged and a little optimistic. So, Best Adapted Screenplay, when I looked at some of these wins, right? Best Adapted Screenplay went to Conclave, which at this point we can all agree is going to win the Oscar. However, Best Original Screenplay went to A Real Pain by Jesse Eisenberg, not Honora from Sean Baker. Now, I told you all that it looked like Honora was a front runner for Best Film. Well, in a shocking turn of events, Conclave won Best Picture. It was a shocking moment. At BAFTA, it won Best Picture. But the other part that got me was the acting categories. Adrien Brody has won Best Actor again for The Brutalist. At this point, I think we're all can accept that Adrien Brody is going to win his second Academy Award for Best Actor. He's going to be a 2-time Oscar-winning actor. It's been like a 20-year gap since he won his last Oscar. And he's going to win for The Brutalist. I think we can all safely say he's going to win Best Actor. I think it's also safe to say that at this point, Best Supporting Actor is going to go to Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Both him and Adrien Brody have been sweeping, okay? And at this point, I'm sorry, Best Supporting Actress is going to Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. She keeps winning too, y'all. I'm sorry. Everybody keeps talking about they hate Amelia Perez, but Zoe Saldana has kept winning, y'all. She is eating. Like, they just will not stop giving her every single major award prize. But Best Actress, Demi Moore has been sweeping at every show. But there was a shocker at BAFTA. Mikey Madison won for Nora. And this is a shocker because no one thought she was going to win at BAFTA. It's crazy. So now we're all biting our nails to figure out who the fuck is going to win at SAG, Screen Actors Guild Awards. Because that is the acting prize. Now, here's what you got to pay attention to. It appears that Best Actress might be a fucking toss-up or a shake-up. It is Mikey Madison versus Demi Moore. I thought that it might have been maybe Fernanda Torres. But now that Mikey Madison has won, it's a nail-biter, y'all. I don't know. I still think it's Demi Moore, but I don't know. This was not supposed to happen. We got to pay attention to SAG. There is rumors that Timothée Chalamet is going to surprise everybody and win Best Actor at SAG for A Complete Unknown, playing Bob Dylan. I don't know. I think Adrian Brody is going to take it to the top. And I've been telling y'all Adrian Brody was great in the Brutalist. Now, Best Director is a little sticky too. A lot of people thought maybe Sean Baker was going to win for Best Director since he's been winning everything else. Well, he turned around and Brady Corbet won for Best Director for The Brutalist. So that race is still hot. Sean Baker versus Brady Corbet. The Brutalist versus, Honora for Best Director. It's very sticky. It's very sticky. And people keep saying that we need to just not pay attention to Brutalist, like the Brutalist is not a Best Picture contender anymore. They're saying that it's Honora versus Conclave. I don't know, y'all. We're going to see. Because here's the thing. At SAG, there is a Best Ensemble trophy. That's not Best Picture, but it's like the closest thing to Best Picture for that award. Because Screen Actors Guild Award gives awards to acting. So if Conclave wins Best Ensemble, or The Brutalist wins Best Ensemble, whoever, and it's not Honora, baby, the Oscars is about to be the biggest nail biter of the century. I don't know what to expect. I don't know who's getting Best Picture. It's up in the air. Everybody want to say Honora's a front runner, but I think it's a little too early to place those bets. Okay, because I'm shook. I'm shook right now. Best Actress, that was supposed to be Demi Moore, supposed to sweep everything, and now I don't know, but I still have hope for her. I think Kieran Culkin and Zoe Saldana is like a lock-in for that. Best Actor, Adrian Brody is going to happen, but it's a little nail biter. I don't know how this is going to play out, y'all. So we gotta keep our eyes on the prize, okay? We gotta keep our eyes on the prize. Just yeah. I'm just keeping my eyes out for that. The other thing that has caught my attention, this is now we're in music. We gotta talk about it. Jay-Z's case. Jay-Z and Diddy's case. Because Jay-Z, okay, so I talked about this lawsuit that involved Jay-Z and Diddy. It was an accusation that Jay-Z and Diddy sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl after a VMA's party back in the early 2000s, right? It was very chaotic. A lot of the press ran narratives. Conspiracy theorists began to start to say, oh, Jay-Z did it. Jay-Z's going down. Everybody was praying on his downfall. And everybody was just trying to predict trouble for Beyonce. Like, I told you all that this case was spotty from day one. I told you all that this was bullshit. As somebody has covered scandals for years, I know a scandal when I see one. I know bullshit when I see one. Look, listen, Jay-Z has a lot of problems. He's got 99 problems, but a rape case is not one of them. I never, listen, I don't like Jay-Z. I have issues with Jay-Z's politics, and he's problematic in so many ways. But I'm also fair. I'm also mature. I'm also somebody that's like, you know what? When something don't smell right, even if I don't like the person, that does not mean that I'm just going to join a bandwagon of misinformed people. I don't get down like that. My ethics, I just can't, right? Like, I didn't believe it, right? And I felt like Tony Busby, who was the attorney that was defending this J. Doe, he dismissed the case with prejudice. And what that means is when you dismiss a case with prejudice, that means that you're requesting this case to be shut down, and you're also requesting that the case does not be retried again. It is obvious that whoever that Jane Doe was a liar, and that this was clearly a money grab. But see, the problem is now, and this is the problem with Tony Busby, Jay-Z is suing him, as he should, because you should have never tried to do that man in. I always told you all that throughout that thing, I felt like the way that Tony Busby was moving with these cases, because let me also be clear, not only is Jay-Z, the case is dropped against Jay-Z, it's also dropped against Diddy. And I have a sense that Trump and all that's going on, Diddy might, given the salaciousness of all this, Diddy might have all this shit dropped, or some of this dropped. Some of it is federal involved. But these little stupid ass, like, random cases that keeps popping up from all these anonymous people, I feel like a lot, like even Busby with all the, I got 200 victims, some of that stuff is going to fall down. The federal investigation will stay. But I think a lot of these other like petty, like all these like pop-up lawsuits that keeps coming out every week, it's like at a certain point, I feel like, is this flooding the zone? Like, is this a way to create a, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say that I am like Like, I feel like to some extent, you can be completely like checked out. Like, you could just be completely like checked out from a situation where to a certain point, you become almost immune to it. Like, you're just like, okay. And I feel like there's a part of this case where a lot of people, like, every week there's some new thing being about it. And it's almost like I just don't even, it's a sense of like, okay, like, what is it? A civil lawsuit? They want a settlement? Okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like some of this stuff just feel like it's just like the building up. A lot of it is the details are just all over the place. The stuff just is not sounding credible. There's so many extremities. And I tell people if it sounds too good to be true, it might not be true. And I'm not saying that everyone's lying, right? Because clearly Cassie wasn't lying. But I just want to say, and I told this to people that I know, that you like everyday people who are not celebrities, like these massive public figures, do not conflate your real legitimate trauma to that involving celebrities. I know people want to relate to celebrities, but we got to stop. Celebrity culture is so fucking extreme. And as somebody who's been in proximity to that shit, who covers this shit, who knows the inside out, the stuff that celebrities go through that everyday people don't go through, like, it's just not the same. Like if a billionaire like Jay-Z gets sued and being falsely accused, the likelihood of a billionaire like Jay-Z being falsely accused of something is much higher, exponentially higher than an average Joe who is accused of something. Because one would argue, for starters, why would somebody just randomly falsely accuse somebody of doing something? Like, what is the gain if you're not somebody of stat? Like why would somebody lie? Like, I oftentimes, if a young woman or somebody accuses a boss of abuse or sexual harassment or something, a lot of times, I'm not saying that people don't lie, but the likelihood of the person lying is way much lower than if the person involved is a very high profile figure or celebrity. So let's say that there's like two everyday people that go on a date and, a situation happens with assault. The likelihood of that happening is way much higher than some celebrity that is being accused of drugging somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I just think a lot of times when celebrities or somebody accused celebrity, I will see real legitimate victims that are, civilian, that have abusers that were not famous, not super powerful, all those things. They will automatically begin to attach themselves to those celebrities and try to trauma bond with them. Not celebrities, but with the person that accused them, whatever. They'll try to trauma bond and connect with them. And it's just like, please don't do that, because you don't know the motives. And those situations are more complicated. And what we find in these situations is that a lot of times cases get dropped. People were like, oh, well, did Jay-Z settle? No, y'all. Jay-Z didn't fucking settle. He never settled. And what y'all got to also understand is that Busby tried to get Jay-Z to settle before it came on purpose. And Jay-Z has accused this man of extortion. Like, accused this man of trying to shake him down and get a shakedown. He's like, fuck that. If you want to go public, go public. And that tells me a lot about Jay-Z. When Jay-Z said, if I did this, lock me up, no guilty man is going to say lock me up in a case that could be a case. Jay-Z was willing to go to trial if he needed to. But he also, the more and more that came out about the story, the inconsistency, this person, this accuser, which we never met, lied, okay, claimed that certain celebrities that she recognized at the party, they weren't even at the party. Like, I think she said something about Good Charlotte, this group named, this rock band. Like, she just name dropping folks that wasn't even there. Claimed her father picked her up. And when the father said that he didn't remember picking up any person who is a father or family member of a victim that going through something, you're never going to forget those type of things. The fact that this father's like, I don't even remember any, like, I don't even, the inconsistencies, the dates, the locations, the party, who was there, all of that. And like, come the fuck on. Because again, I've interviewed in my career victims of sexual abuse. I've interviewed people who accuse people in the press and got people to confess and admit wrongdoing because of how credible the victim story was. Okay, I've covered this. That story had no legs. And the only reason why people wanted to believe it was for two reasons. One, because they were so bloodthirsty about Diddy that they were just super fixated on anything with Diddy's name attached. We're going to believe it. Like Diddy, like they just, the obsession, right? And then secondly, there's also an obsession with Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z has been able to skate past a lot of controversies, and there are people that envy his success and envy that, and has always wanted to find a way to quote unquote humble him or to put him into trouble. Listen, that man is problematic for various reasons, and there's various reasons to tell that man to sit down. But this ain't it, right? False allegations and lies, this ain't it. This ain't cutting it, right? And then second and third, Beyonce. Clearly, because every time Jay-Z's in anything, everybody uses a chance to shit on Beyonce because they're jealous of her and what appears to be a perfect life and family, and they just want to humble this very successful black woman, right? She's got her issues too, but like again, it just wasn't sticking. So here's why I think Busby rejected. This is how I know history, right? I think, and this is my opinion, alleged opinion. This is my theory. It's not rooted in any material fact. It's just it's analysis based on certain details provided. I think the timing of Busby filing this lawsuit, I personally don't even think at this point that the accuser is a real person in the sense that this person who, quote unquote, this Jane Doe, I don't think any of what they said was true. I think the story is completely made up. I don't think there was any experience. I don't think the person, I don't want to say the person doesn't exist, but there's something about this whole story that just feels very weird, right? But what I think is, on Busby's angle, I think that Busby may or may not, I think as a lawyer, in my opinion, he was negligent. I think that he was so thirsty to get a case and to get a payout and to get a cash grab that he purposely looked over those details. I think any real lawyer that really was trying to solve this case, that wanted this case to go to trial, because a lawyer should always be prepared that if a mediation doesn't work, they should be ready to go to trial. This case, if it would have been brought to trial, would have been a waste of money for Busby and time. It would have damaged Busby's reputation. I think that the whole trial would have revealed all these fucking glaring things that was almost like, what the fuck? And it would have been, look at the lawyer like, you didn't run this by, like even her story where she did an interview, I think it was like for NBC News. I remember she accused him, and I'm looking at myself like, lawyer, y'all didn't run this through? These details, like y'all didn't go talk to the father? You are a rich ass lawyer. You are a acclaimed lawyer. You didn't go circle back and mitigate the facts? But you thought that putting this in the public press was going to hurt, because what the plan was, I think, was the goal in my mind was always to get Jay-Z to settle. Jay-Z was never supposed to say no. He was supposed to just throw the money, because Jay-Z's a billionaire, right? Like, if anything, Jay-Z could have gave that money like a couple other celebrities did. Other celebrities settled, right? And I don't think they settled because they were guilty. I think they settled because they just naturally did not want their shit attached to this shit, right? And I think the logic was just basically like, you know what? You know, Jay-Z got the Super Bowl coming up because he's a part of Rock Nation. Beyonce's Grammy nomination, Album of the Year campaigns going on. All this pressure. You know, Blue Ivy got the new Lion King movie. I think he wanted to... The intimidation of it all was like, okay, if we go public during this time, Jay-Z's not going to want this scandal and this drama in the midst of all his stuff. But because of the universe and because of what's right, Lion King, the new Lion King movie with Blue Ivy, was a sleeper hit that did well at the box office. It was a sleeper hit that continued to wow and impress through time. So it succeeded in what it's supposed to do. The second thing is, it didn't impact the Cowboy Carter campaign, because look, Beyonce got Album of the Year, her family did. Public perception has been her favor. Cowboy Carter tour, selling, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Everything's been doing good. So at this point, Jay-Z, everything that this man tried to take and hurt from Jay-Z did not get impacted. Like Jay-Z's life publicly has not been hammered as much. I mean, there was crazy people talking shit, but as far as Jay-Z's actual, like, no one dropped him. Nobody, like, dismissed him or canceled him because people just really did not want to fully believe that story. And they had every reason to. There was just so many holes in the story. So I could see that. But then also, I think overall, Tony Busby's momentum, like the accuser didn't want to reveal herself. We didn't hear more about her. It just seemed like, but Jay-Z's legal team was aggressively killing this case. So I think there's a lot of things that just did not sit well with me. Yeah. So that's one thing that stood to me. It looks like Drake is trying to move on from this beef with Kendrick. It's not really faring well for him. This Party Next Door album was a flop. A lot of people wasn't really feeling this little Valentine's Day album. I didn't hear it, but the fans are not here for it. But at this point, to be honest, it would be nice for Kendrick to move on at this point. Do the tour, hit the song, promote this new album, do your thing. I feel like at this point, like, now the Super Bowl has happened, he put Game over. Okay, I guess we can all go to bed now, right? And it's game over. Like, he did the Super Bowl performance. Now the beef is done. He's completed everything. I mean, number one song, right? Number one hit record, 5 Grammys, Super Bowl performance. That's a trifecta. That's a 3-0 KO, TKO, total knockout. Like, it's over. Round 1, round 2, round 3. Like, 3 strikes you're out. Like, Kendrick won the war. Drake is trying to move on. Drake is trying to sing, do other things. I mean, look, I think it's time. I think it's time. We can all move on. There. Now, Cowboy Carter tickets, this tour tickets. A lot of y'all have been asking about these tour tickets. We got them. We got them. We got them. Chicago, Thursday, May 16th. We're the first show she does when she leaves the West Coast. We're the second city stop. Because the first stop is in LA. After LA, Chicago. We was not going to LA. I'm not playing with LA. Their prices, their lifestyle. I'm just not playing with LA. But Chicago is nice. And y'all know I love Chicago. I mean, that's my birthplace. Lip Brothers, we all got our tickets. The Lip Brothers are going to Chicago. We always love a good annual trip somewhere. We love to do a trip together. We do an AC trip. We did Baltimore a couple years back. We love to do a trip together. And this time we're going to Chicago for Beyonce. So the rodeo is coming to Chicago. We love her. We got our tickets at a reasonable price. We did not get scalped. We did not get hit by the resellers. We definitely did. But, we're a team. And we did do the Beehive pre-sale, even though I did see that Verizon the next day, the Citibank Verizon situation, seemed like Verizon definitely had lower rates because they didn't have the whole dynamic pricing. But, we just locked in and got ours when we did, and we were happy. Shout out to Dr. Gio, who was able to get in the queue and get it at a reasonable price. Like, we all were in the queue, but different of us got it. I mean, I don't know. He just has that magic touch to get the tickets. He just locked them in. So, it's great that they let you buy up to 4 tickets, because that's what we did. We got the 4 tickets. We all did the Cash App exchange. We were set. So we're super excited about Cowboy Carter, album, the year winner, tour, everything. We're looking forward to Chicago. We're trying to go to Virtue for dinner. We're going to be there for a couple of days. So we're actually going to spend like a couple of days there. But then I got to get my ass back to Philly like early. I already booked my flight. I booked my hotel, booked my flight. It's going to be at Soldiers Field. We found a hotel near Soldiers Field. I used my miles to get my hotel. I already booked my flight. My flight round trip was like really, really cheap, direct. I was here for it. I got a 6:30 a.m. flight. I got to leave Chicago to get to Philly at 9:30 a.m. because the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, the PABJ Media Professional Awards returns, y'all. We're coming back, okay, at Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse on Friday, May 16th at 12 o'clock. So it's going to be lit. It's going to be a lovely luncheon. And I cannot miss my own organization's event. So I can't stay in Chicago. I can't be there all day. But I'm going to come in, I believe, like Tuesday night. I'm going to be Wednesday, Thursday. Then I got to catch a red eye on Friday to get back to Philly. I think some of the boys are coming. I think Gio might stay a little long because he let him to Chicago. But my rest of my little brothers, Josh, Jamark, I'm trying to get y'all better show y'all ass up to this luncheon. My table needs your presence. Or, who knows? But, I am excited we're in Chicago. We was thinking about MetLife, but MetLife was just too crazy because all the New Yorkers and everybody, DC got their own little shit going on. But we didn't want to do East Coast because I also feel like we was not going to enjoy the whole city. I just felt like every location that Beyonce had, like Houston was cool, but we also didn't want to wait that long. I'm happy we did Chicago because I feel like MetLife would have been the following week or whatever, or the next, I think it would have been like the next week or something like that. And I'm like, I'm impatient, y'all. I couldn't wait that long. Like, you got to remember, Renaissance was in Philadelphia. That was the first show she did, her kickoff. I really can't be like lost in the shuffle Beyonce concert. Like, I want to be one of the first to see her shows. Like, I'm not going to LA, but I want to be one of the first to see the show. And I actually would love to see the show before the East Coast see the show, which I'm excited about. So I could be able to like tell people like this is what she did. I can be into it. But I'm happy it happened. It played out the way it's supposed to play out. Plus we just love Chicago. Like, I really love Chicago. Like, I am going to try to make it. I don't know. Like, I had a fever where I was going to Vegas all the time. I feel like I could go to Chicago like once a year now. Like, I feel like Chicago. I love Chicago. Like, we just had that anniversary celebration in Chicago recently. I just like Chicago. Like, I would love. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, if Chicago, like, I could see myself living there. I could see myself living there. That is one city I could see myself living at. But I love Philly though. But I'm just saying, like, I was thinking the other day, like, where would I live? Like, both Barry and I were talking about, like, we were just like, where would we live? Like, if we didn't live in Philly? Like, DC was not the answer. We're not crazy about DC. Like, no. New York, no, not crazy about New York at all. Boston, no, it was a no for me. Houston, you have to have a car and drive. It's too far. But I enjoyed my time there, but no. Atlanta, that's not even a question. LA, no. LA's fun to be at for a little bit, but I couldn't live in LA. I just feel like Chicago would be like the next thing for me. Like, if we were to live somewhere else, we would live in Chicago. Like, I could see us living in Chicago, like Hyde Park or something. I don't know. But I can see Chicago. I ain't gonna hold you. Chicago might be. I like a little city. I like a city. I mean, they got a black mayor, like we do. They got some political corruption, some shady. We love a good little local political corruption, don't we? I don't know. I'm just feeling Chicago. But like, to be clear, there's no opportunities in Chicago. No one's called me to leave. I'm not relocating. I'm just saying that if I did not live in Philly and I could choose another city living in America, I would probably go to Chicago. I ain't gonna hold you. Just random. But we're excited about the tickets. We got our tickets. We're good. We paid a reasonable cost. We got good seats. We got a nice seating situation. We wasn't gonna lose our minds like the last time. I mean, like, I like Cowboy Carter, but like, honestly, Act 3, I'm gonna lose my mind for Act 3. Like, it's gonna be a rock album. I just feel like Act 3 gonna be crazy. But I mean, Cowboy Carter is nice. We gonna have a good time. Now, moving on to TV. I haven't done too much TV. I mean, the Abbott Elementary Valentine's Day episode was phenomenal. I just love that show. That show could do no wrong with me. I just love Ava Coleman. Can we give her an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress? Can we get that conversation going? Can we get the Best Supporting Actress campaign going for Ava Coleman? Like, I don't want no one else. Like, I mean, all these goddamn actors from The Bear, I don't fucking care. Like, I want, like, if The Bear can get 2 Best Supporting Actress wins back to back, why can't Ava Coleman from Abbott Elementary get something? Like, I'm serious, y'all. Like, this has to happen. I just want to say that the men on Love and Hip Hop been wilding out lately. I don't know if it's a midlife crisis, but it looks like Love and Hip Hop New York, no, not New York, Atlanta is about to have some drama. We're going to find out that Mendices may have actually been cheating on Yandy, allegedly. Not actor, but the musician Zayn, he's on this season. His girl trying to kick him out. It looked like Kurt not in the doghouse because we all know Rashida loves that shit. But it just seems like there's all types of infidelities and things. I mean, Scrappy got another baby mama, which is weird. He's on his third. Well, Bambi's not a baby mama allegedly. She's an ex-wife. But like, yeah, it's just a lot going on there. But I want to talk about this show I saw on Hulu. Was it no, not Hulu? Tubi, which Tubi got some stuff. TMZ presents Saving Wendy. I have been following this Wendy Williams saga for quite some time, y'all, and I can't listen. I know she's not the nicest person. She was the nicest person, but I wouldn't wish that on my enemy. What happened to Wendy, this whole conservative ship, I mean, I'm not going to tell it all, but if you have not watched it, watch it on Tubi. It's called Team Z Presents Saving Wendy. But they go into some of the legal battles and drama going with her. And it looks like she might be temporarily freed, or there's going to be some efforts after that documentary came out. Because all of it is sketchy. It seems like she's coherent enough to be able to take care of herself. And I mean, she's making phone calls. She's trapped in the house. They won't let her go out. I mean, they're requesting her to take a cognitive test. Like, it's just too much going on. I think that Wendy, she may not be like 100% well, but I think she's functional enough that she should be able to get her funding and her money. And I think that she was being taken advantage of. And it's just disgusting. Free Wendy, seriously. And then lastly, this week, I'm super excited about going to London. I'm going to Oxford Union to do this debate at Oxford University. I am so excited, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. I have a whole brand new suit and a whole outfit that got tailor made for this special occasion. A 3-piece suit, mind you, okay? A 3-piece suit. I was not playing any games. 3-piece suit. I'm going to be dressed to the nine. I'm looking forward to all of the love, the surprises, the fun. I may not be able to see Piers Morgan, apparently, because he's available on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I don't know if he's going to be present on Thursday when I arrive. So I may not end up seeing him after all at the UK, which is like a bummer. But at the end of the day, I wasn't there to see him anyway. But it would have been cool to be able to work that out. But it probably won't happen. And it would have been fun, but I'm not like, oh my God, I'm on the show. Like, I don't care. But I'm really excited about this debate. I'm excited about going to the UK. My global entry is set. I have global entry. That came through my visa, because now to go to Europe, but specifically go to the UK, they request that you get a temporary ETA visa, which whether you're there for a day or a small period of time or whatever, you have to do that. You have to apply. And I did. It was very quick. But if you're going to UK, you have to have this visa or they won't let you into the country. And the cool thing about the visa is that it goes through your coding with your passport. So if you have a passport, which of course I have, you go through, you can use the passport as a way and means of entry. And I also have global entry when I get back. So I love, listen, and let me tell you what I want y'all to know. Get global entry. Global entry comes with pre-check, 5-year pre-check on it already, TSA pre-check included. So you can kill two birds with one stone. Global entry is like the TSA pre-check of global travel. So a lot of y'all that want to go abroad, do all this other stuff, y'all get the things you need. Don't want to be at a hotel or at the airport for 3-6 hours. Who wants to do that? Like go through the process, go through it, do what you got to do, This will be a short trip. I'm leaving on Wednesday. I'm getting back Friday afternoon. Like, I'm just there. I'm in England all for all Thursday, and I come back on Friday. So yeah, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be, I'm excited about this opportunity to promote this book. This week, as you all know, also marks the 2-year anniversary of the Case for Cancel Culture. So this is very just all the feels. And I keep saying I'm super excited. I'm very excited about this, man. I can't tell you, like a kid, like on their first day of school, and you get your new outfit and you lay it on your bed real nice. You got it all lined up. You just can't wait to put that fit on. Like when I tell you this suit I got, I look good. This I ate. Okay. This is probably one of the best suits I've worn. But I said, if I'm going to go down there and I'm going to have cinematographers, videographers, baby, this hair is about to be, let me tell you, this cut that I'm about to have, the cut is going to be sharp. Okay? The nails. I'm getting these nails done. Okay, y'all been liking my nails. These nails, my Valentine's Day nails were cute. But these nails are getting done. We're getting them done for your. There's a whole new look, a new set. I'm gonna do like a little black wing tip with a nice little shimmer polish. Like, I'm gonna keep it real clean and neat. I ain't gonna do too much glittery all over, but it's gonna be a nice little shimmer. I'm gonna do a nice little black, wing tip, not wing tip, a black French tip or whatever. I'm gonna do it nice. It's gonna be it's gonna be nice. The shoes. I got the shoes. Ooh, I got me some Cole Haans. Like, I'm not playing any games. I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna be looking fly. I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna look. I'm going to listen. You're gonna know it was a good time. But I'm excited about the UK. So yeah, this week is gonna be exciting. I got some speaking engagements. Will not be at City Council Live this week because clearly I'm gonna be abroad. But this has been a journey. It's been an awesome week. It's been awesome Black History Month. It's been awesome February. In spite of what's going on in the White House, I mean, Black people keep pushing through. History keeps getting made. Good things are still happening. Be optimistic. Be all the things. And as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.